Assalamualaikum everybody. Selamat petang, selamat tengah hari. Semua dah makan? Alhamdulillah. We are back on our LITEC 2020 afternoon session. And with us now, we have our Dr. Muhammad Helmi Norman from UKM. Say hello. So we'll be listening from Dr. Helmi now on personalizing the future of digital learning, educators' role by moving into the abyss. So let me introduce Dr. Helmi to our audience, our virtual online audience right now. Dr. Helmi Norman is currently the Assistant Dean of Teaching and Citra and a Senior Lecturer or Assistant Professor at the Faculty of Education, University Kebangsaan Malaysia. His research interests are in the areas of digital learning. Previously, he was appointed as a visiting scholar at the Schwartz Center for Computational Neuroscience, University of California, San Diego, USA, and was awarded a visiting postdoctoral fellowship by Erasmus Mundus at the Faculty of Science and Technology, Bournemouth University, United Kingdom. During his PhD, he was awarded the Global Student Mobility Partnership Program for a research attachment in the e-Learning Lab Center for Driven Innovation, Learning and Design, Aalborg University. Dr. Norman is currently involved in cross-continental projects such as the Australia's Innovation Research University IRU, Malaysia Research University Network MRUN, on Learning Spaces and Erasmus Early Nutrition E-Learning Academy Southeast Asia, where he is on the Digital Learning Expert Board. He's also involved in national research projects such as the massive Malaysian Public University Educator 4.0 Ministry of Higher Education. He is an Apple Distinguished Educator and Apple Professional Learning Specialist, where he is involved in national projects for primary, secondary, and higher education in promoting one-to-one pedagogical and learning approaches using the Apple ecosystem, and is a certified professional technologist of the Malaysian Board of Technologies. Dr. Helmi, it's a mouthful, a breathful, a long one. Very impressive experience, and we will be very honored to listen from you. Shall we pass the floor to you, Dr. Helmi?
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Raza. So, Associate Professor Dr. Raza. Okay, and so I'll be sharing my slides for a bit. Okay. So, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, everybody, and a good afternoon. So today I'll be talking about personalizing the future of digital learning and educators' roles. Is the educator moving to the abyss? So that's the highlight for today. All right, so again, thank you, Dr. Noraza, for the introduction. So I'm the Deputy Director for Instructional Technologies for the Center for Teaching and Curriculum Development. I was the Assistant Dean before. But now I'm attached to the Center for Teaching and Curriculum Development, or Pengajaran UKM. I'm also a Senior Lecturer at the Faculty of Education and a Director on the Board of Directors, IBL, International Association for Blended Learning, and Professional Technologist, and also an Apple Distinguished Educator. Okay, so let me play some videos for you. And so this was a long time ago. I really like this video. If you've been to Prof. Dato Amin's workshops, he uses these videos a lot of times, but I really like this. Let's start with this video and move on from there.
In 1930, the Republican-controlled House of Representatives, in an effort to alleviate the effects of the the Great Depression, passed the the tariff bill, the Hawley-Smoot Tariff Act, which anyone raised or lowered, raised tariffs.
Okay, so from there we can see that the lecturer, the educator is so, it's a very conventional settings, using chalkboard, using whiteboard, and the students are very disengaged with the lecturer. But I think let's go to now. I know everybody here is not teaching like that anymore, or are you? Okay, so now we are in the fourth industrial revolution, where this is a combination between three worlds: physical, digital, and biological. So, what is this three world: physical, physical, digital, and biological? So the first is physical. So in this physical world, there's a lot of technologies that are associated with it. For instance, drones, robots, autonomous cars. We see self-driving cars in Dubai. Flying taxis in Dubai. We have those. So, and what is the technology in the digital world? It involves Internet of Things, cryptocurrency. We have Bitcoins now, and blockchain for authentication purposes. How do you authenticate your e-certificates? So you use blockchain. So these are the technologies that are fastly evolving in the world now. And technology in the biological world. We have wearables. We have brain-based technologies, wearables such as the Apple Watch, and then we have the brain-based technology. We have these neuro-mobile EEG softwares now. Okay, so we are more connected than ever, and this fourth industrial revolution lets us be connected not only physically, digitally, but now biologically. So this is the fourth industrial revolution, and I think everybody is aware of this new learning theory, which is Connectivism. This is Professor Siemens and Professor Stephen Downes from Athabasca University. So, and what the theory says that everything that we connect with, we can learn with it. So this is the digital, the learning of the new age. All right. So I'm going to show you some a couple of scenarios where it might be now, it might be 5 years, it might be 10 years, and this is the future, or is it not? Let's have that discussion after this. If I have a Q&A, if we have that. Let's go on to the future lecturer. So this is the first example I'm going to give you to sort of provoke the idea that are we relevant anymore in this world? So let's have that discussion today. A robot lecturer in or professor or teacher in the physical world. So this is Yuki, the robot lecturer. So the robot professor from University of Marburg, Germany. And he was developed by Professor Peter Hanke, I think, yeah, Hanke, yeah. And so let's have a look at this robot.
Here is a question for you. Task number 1. How many vowels does the word incomprehensible contain? You got 2 minutes.
Yuki is asking practice exam questions. But students in Hanke's classes aren't supposed to memorize material. Instead, they're instructed to use their tablets, mobiles, and computers to find information online. This trains skills and understanding rather than rote learning.
Eyes, you also wrote down eyes, that's perfect. We'll write the full forms, wonderful.
So, Hanke thinks teacher-centered education is inefficient. The professor prefers an interactive multimedial approach, which he can apply thanks to his assistant Yuki.
So just cross out that line, and then you have the first solution. That's the reason I like it.
It's really a big help. I can stay with them and help them while the robot has an eye on things. I don't need to do anything. It's great.
So let's see.
Before, I'd have to run up and down the class, do the PowerPoint and the stopwatch. Now he handles all of that.
The time is up. The next question will come in a moment.
Okay.
Guess he's got it.
This is the question.
So as you can see, that the robot is assisting the lecturer. What do you think of that? Bear in mind, as robots get smarter, they may replace us. So let's go to the next case study or next example, an AI lecturer in the digital world. So this is, sorry about that. Just, yeah, sorry. Let's say that.
I remember that morning going to the lab and I was thinking, this is it. This is the last Jeopardy game.
This is Jeopardy, the IBM challenge.
Watson on a tear.
Watson, who is Franz Liszt?
Okay, so that was Watson, developed by IBM, and actually they have it integrated in Georgia Tech University, where they integrated into class and put the AI lecturer, answering questions by the students without the professor. So I think this is the new norm. Now we're in the pandemic area. There was a pre-pandemic, but now is the new norm. We don't know until when the pandemic will go on. So I think it's now a good time to look at these examples and have a think about that. All right, so let's go to the third example, where a lecturer is in the physical world. So this is the teacher. Let's have that. So the teacher is using technology with the students in the school settings.
This week's homework? Gravity. Projects are due on Friday, please.
Homework. Oh, homework. I hate you.
Guys ready?
You stink. I wish I could wash you away in the sink. I'd rather eat spinach and liver, pet 10 porcupines, than tackle the homework my teacher assigns. Homework. Oh, homework. You're last on my list. I simply can't see why you even exist. If you just disappeared, it would tickle me pink.
Next up.
Homework. Oh, homework. I hate you.
All right. So, what is that? And did you see the students there now? I think this is the new norm, actually. Students picking up devices everywhere, creating content. Look at the smiles, look at the interactions by the students, and as you see it evolving from the first video I saw you, that the professor is like, oh, going, hello, this is me, and then now we're moving towards that student-centered learning. This is how it evolves. Okay, so let's see the fourth example. And so this fourth example is about a lecturer in the digital world. Okay, and well, actually, I'm giving this lecture, and well, this is a okay, or we could just let's play this one. Okay, yeah.
Grandpa and Helmi. Any differences between face-to-face and online teaching?
face-to-face teaching, you need a card to go to the university. Whereas in online teaching, you need the internet to go to the LMS learning management system. In face-to-face teaching, we need a physical space such as the lecture hall. And in online teaching, we need a virtual space. So what do you think? Is face-to-face teaching similar to online teaching? Or is it different? All right, so that is an example of, we're used to having that lecturer in the front, talking head, oh, I'm here talking about that, talking about this, but we can also have it in animation. So these are the 4 examples that we have, as a lecturer, as a professor, as an educator in the 4th Industrial Revolution. So are educators relevant anymore? So this is the question that we have to ask ourselves. How do we make, definitely educators are relevant, but if we follow that first model where, I'm talking in front, I'm just talking and no interaction from the students, no technology from the students, no learning activities from the students, no engagements from the students, it gets lost along the way. So let's have a look at this framework. This is a 3D dimension. So let me just show you with the cursor here. So in the since we are talking about 4th Industrial Revolution, we have the 3 worlds, so we can map it up on the X and Z. We'll talk about the X first. So the first one is physical and digital. So definitely face-to-face teaching, everything is physical, face-to-face teaching, and we usually connect with some type of interaction, some type of technology. So it goes digital in a bit, and we have the human touch and the technology. But we also, in the 4th Industrial Revolution, I think the important part is everything is becoming smarter. The 4th Industrial Revolution, or the World Economic Forum, is saying that everything is cognified, everything is becoming smarter, and this enables for this Z or Z axis to be introduced, which is the biological world. And I think there's a distinction between lecturers, robot lecturers, and human lecturers, and that distinction is on this biological aspect. On the part that you saw, IBM developed the Watson AI robot or AI lecturer. They introduced the biological, the intelligent, they're very smart. Even the guy who was the best in Jeopardy couldn't win. So that is the future that we're facing. Robots are becoming more smarter than us, because they're more intelligent. They have the systems, they have the information, because they are connected. And as you see in the Jeopardy episode, the robot was, the AI was not smart at first, but as it got smarter and the information was made more, was given to the robot, it became smarter and became more intelligent. But what the difference between humans and robots are, we have that emotion, the passion. Where's the passion? It's like, oh my God, this is so boring, the robot. This is 4th Industrial Revolution. And who says 4th Industrial Revolution is exciting? Well, we can make it more exciting by changing our roles. So that is the thing that we're going to talk about. I'm going to show you a bit and have that, I'm going to show you a bit on how to do that after this. Okay, so how do we react to this situation? How do we counter for the fourth industrial revolution? And there's a lot of things that we have to think about. And I think in the pandemic, we suddenly everybody's like, oh, I know how to use Google Meet. I know how to use Microsoft Teams. I know how to use Zoom. I know how to use WebEx, Cisco WebEx. So now everybody's understanding about this digital world. Everybody's the teaching, the education field is moving towards that. I think that's a good step in moving towards the fourth industrial revolution. Everybody going digital and blended. So for physical and digital, blending that space. But apart from that, I think information can gain easily by going to YouTube, going to Google, going to search online. But having that, I think, biological or emotion aspect is important to cater for that, because you can go to YouTube, but you have 10 videos. So which one is right? So that is the role of the new educator. So redesign physical spaces. I think this is important in connecting with students. So I think a lot of universities in Malaysia are working to that. I think University of Malaya also has the learning spaces, which were designed, I think 5-6 years ago. Great cubes, I think they called it the UM cubes. And in UCAM, we also have the active learning space. So how do we make it active? So this is the problem now. Actually, I think the problem is not just going digital, but how to make it active in digital space. So I think it's about redesigning the digital space. How do we make the students active? So like, I'm stuck here in my space here. How do I make you active? So this is something we really have to think about and talk about. All right, so let me show you a bit of demo on the things that we could do with our students. It's true, we have robots, we have AI, we have that. It's coming soon, but it's not there yet. We're moving towards that. But what do we do now? We're like stuck in the middle. Well, I'm not going traditional, but I'm not going so futuristic, because it's like it's coming there, not yet there. We don't have AI lecturers yet, but it's going there. Well, what do we do now? Right. So this is the demo part, which I will show you a bit on how do we transform our educational practices and do stuff using technology, right? So it's going to be a part of a demo. So I'm going to use my iPad. Of course, I love iPads. And okay, so let me just hook it up, and let's do that. Okay, so alrighty. Okay, I have it there. Okay, so now you're looking on my iPad, and this is the let's say the workbook of the now, right? Yes, we are using paper and pencil still, but I think moving towards democratizing that. All right, let's go. And the first thing I would love to share is Notability. I think there's a lot of things that you can do with notes, and I love this software, and this really helps me in moving towards that. Let me find that. Where is it? Okay, yeah. Where's the okay? Anyway, okay, let's just open. Okay, for instance, all right. So this is some notes I took with the benchmarking in LMS with Dr. Zahir. So this is to be it's not totally replacing paper, but I mean, you can bring it everywhere. See, you can zoom in, you can highlight there, here. So, and you don't have to bring a highlighter. You don't have to bring a pencil. You do have to have one pencil, but not the traditional pencils. And you have to, put the colors. You can highlight. So this is the new way of, teaching and learning. And let's say, for instance, you have that. Okay, where was that? Where was the meetings? Okay. So let's say I have this thing here, and I have this recording here on the top. Oh, you can't see that. But let me just show you what you can do. Helmi, you got this Mishwarat thingy, and I think it's wrong here. You should do something with that. That's wrong. Okay. I recorded that, and let's see if I could play that. Helmi, you got this Mishwarat thingy, and I think it's wrong here. This is the future. I think, well, it's really not the future because it's now. You can do it now on your device, on your, if you have a tablet, if you have iPad, I think this is the future now, and it's really in front of you, and do hop along and take that to you. Okay, so the second thing, it's about content. It's about creating content. I think that's one of the things that is good to do. So Notability, I think, is a software that you could use for checking, theses. Okay, let's say, oh, this is wrong. Yeah, should had these. Let me scroll through, and yeah, I mean that this is one of the ways that you can use that for your supervision with your students. I use this a lot with my students. Okay, so now the second thing we're going to do is let's try this one. Okay, I think is about going for the second thing is screen recording. So I think moving from that, creating content and that. Let me have that. Okay, so it's not that hard to let's just back up a bit, and okay. Let me show you one app, which is Clips. All right, so this is actually a okay. So now you see my so all right. Anyway, so let's have a new file here. Let me delete that. Okay, so that's that. Okay, so what this software allows is to actually create content on the fly. So what I'm showing you here is a couple of softwares, not just softwares. It's how to make yourself relevant in the fourth industrial revolution or education nowadays. All right, so the first software was using Notability. So what you could do with Notability is create notes, highlight, record on your theses, on your student assignments. So it's digital assessments. And now this is maybe you have something that is on your mind. You want to make lectures, and let's use this. Oops, okay. All right. Okay. Okay. Let me. Sorry about that. Sorry. Okay. So now, what you want to do is just tap on this camera, or sorry. Okay. So what you want to do is tap on this 3 button thingy and this star. Okay. So you can have the effects here if you want. Sort of have that groove there for your lectures, and maybe have these. Let's say this one, okay. And you could just record. Hello, today. Hi everybody. Boy. Let's record again. Hi everybody. So today we will be talking about Fourth Industrial Revolution. Okay. So that can be done and it can be recorded. So let's stop mirroring for a bit. Hi everybody. Okay. Okay, sorry. Okay, now you can see here there's a text bottom here, and if you use these live texts, you can have your recordings straight away. So let's try. And hello. Today we'll be talking about the Fourth Industrial Revolution. Okay, before the industrial. Okay. Anyway. Okay, so that's bad. Anyway, the videos will be there, and then we can actually try to change that the text while we do that. Okay, so this is one of the examples that you can do in creating content. Okay. So now, let's go to Keynote, and I've shown this. I've shown a lot of this to people, but this. Let me just show you what we can do. So this is called doodling, right? That's the word. Okay, so you can doodle here, and I really don't know how to draw actually, but what I did was, I'll show you in a bit. So the secret to that is actually just what we do is, okay, let's have this presentation plus photo, and we can have the live camera here. Okay, so let's have this. Oops, sorry. Use photo. Okay. So what we do here is we can just actually trace. So okay, let me do that back again. Okay. Okay. All right. Okay. Sorry about that. Anyway, so how to do that is, okay. So what you do is you just draw something, okay? And I have here something that I drew. So I actually drew this. And what you do is when you have the drawings, okay, something wrong with my keynote. Anyway, wait, let me go back, number it up. Okay. Anyway, so so yeah, well, I can't. All right, so that is okay. Those are some examples that you could do in creating content, in doing that animation part, and moving towards that. So how I did that, Grandpa and Helmi, actually is by using this software. So having that animation and drawing there. So what I did was that animated part there, and so what I did was I put it in movie, export it as a movie, and tap on export. Okay, so the one more last software before we go. Let me show you how to use iMovie, and this is actually what I did yesterday. Let me show you that. This is the one. So here it is. So Grandpa and Helmi. So that one, I recorded that. The software. So I recorded that voice. Differences between face-to-face and online teaching? Face-to-face teaching. All right. So and the sounds were actually composed on GarageBand. All right. So you don't have any copyright issues there. Grandpa and Helmi. Okay. So how do I do that? Easy. Okay. So let me put that down and put another recording. Grandpa and Helmi. Okay, so let's set that. Grandpa and Helmi. Okay, so you can see recording is that easy. We don't have to go to a studio anymore. It's all here on your fingertips, and the sound there. Grandpa and Helmi. Okay, let me put that down. Put the recording down. So play that. Okay, and you see the kodo, the kodo actually sound from outside. So how do you do that? I'll just show you in a jiffy. Okay, this is the last software, and I'm going to show you for the demo. Okay, so how do you do that? Is by using GarageBand, and these are the software that are available for you. This is on the iOS, but I believe that on Android, on Windows, you have these softwares. But it's about choosing the right ones, choosing the easy ones to create content, because there are software that are so hard to use. And this is the now. So this is the how to create content. So if you want that, if you have an iPhone, if you have an iPad, go to Sign Libraries and download Toybox. When you go to download Toybox, you have that Toybox, and you can just, oops, okay. So you have the waves here, and you can create content straight away. Let me do that. Okay, that one was the first one. Okay, so you can see I'm just randomly clicking. So what you can do there, I'm not a musician. I really don't know how to do stuff, but it's less. I don't know how to create music, but it's the right software, which is, I think, crucial. Having that, to move towards fourth industrial revolution, you would have to have the right things for creation of content, for recording, and for all that stuff. So I think it's about doing that on your devices, and having that democratization. And so I think maybe let's have 10 minutes for Q&A if that's possible, and let's start now, and make yourself relevant. I think that's the keyword for today. How do we do that? Is by reskilling and reassessing, reanalyzing how we do stuff, redesigning how we teach and learn in the physical, digital, and biological spaces, and using the right technology, using the right software in those blended. I think it's not just about physical anymore. It's about blending that physical and digital. How do you blend it online? How do we move out from our comfort zone? Redeveloping our skills, redeveloping our content, and reanalyzing, reassessing, and reevaluating how we do the normal practices. I think 20 years ago, 10 years ago, 5 years ago, 1 year ago, it may have been relevant, but now I think it's the time for us to move towards future education. The fourth industrial revolution is here now, so let's move and don't make ourselves move to abyss. Thank you.
Nice. Dr. Helmi. Don't
you.
make yourself to the abyss. Well, being a biomedical engineer myself, I really understand the perfect balance of biology and technology. So I must say it's not an easy job to be able to judge and put the right amount of which ingredient to make sure that the outcome that we deliver to our students are the perfectly suited for them. So maybe we can take some questions from the floor while we have them here. Dr. Helmi, can you see the live Q&A section on your, or I can read it out for you?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you can read it up. Yeah, thanks.
Yeah. So there's the first one. I don't have an iPad. How do I do what you did just now?
That's a good question. Buy an iPad. Okay,
Buy an iPad. Oh my goodness.
Well, there's two alternatives to that. Yeah, I think one of it is I think the iPad is for me is the easiest tool to create content. You just click, yeah. Okay, GarageBand, click, yeah. Draw, yeah. Okay, but if you don't have the luxury, or let's say if you don't have the not yet there, not having that, you can still use alternative apps. I think it's about making yourself. You can do it in other softwares, but it's going to be hard. Like, actually, you can draw on PowerPoint, but it's like, oh my God, you can draw and then you can animate that. It's a bit hard, but you still can do it. I think it's about finding what is right for you, what is easy for you. And for me, the easiest stuff is here. Everything is here. If I forget to bring this, I will come back to my house and So, it's like my phone is like, oh my God, I can't leave out my phone. I think it's the same for you. So I think this one is for teaching and learning. I can't leave this. If I leave this, I will go back and take it. So it's not just about teaching and learning, but I think it's about supervising, connecting with your students. Why bring big books? Why bring big laptops? Why bring, everything is on your, iPhone, or on your smartphone, on your iPad. Let's go mobile. Yeah, but you do have that. You can use other softwares as well. Yeah.
Okay, nice answer. Buy an iPad. I like that. Okay, second question. Do you have any tips for people who are afraid to embrace technology, but at the same time do not want to be left behind?
Okay, wow, thank you. Very interesting question. That's why I showed you, the technology or the softwares that is like, oh, that's so easy. Oh, I can be a musician. Click. Wow. See? So it's choosing the right softwares that will not intimidate you. Okay, and it's not about like, oh, let's buy a drone and do some videos. Like, oh my God, that's so hard. Oh, let's buy a robot and program that. That's hard. Like, yes, you can do that. That's futuristic, yes. But Let's buy an iPad.
There you go again. I think we are sponsored.
Anyway, so I mean, like, it's about using the easy softwares. If you're comfort, if you are not afraid to use your phone, let's say, for video, just okay. Today I'm gonna use my phone, and today I'm gonna lecture here. Okay, it's okay. Don't be. If you have 14 weeks of lectures, you do 1 week online, do 1 week digital. Use one. If it's not one class, just use 1 hour or 15 minutes. Try first. Don't go big straight away. I think it's about slowly moving towards that. Eventually, you'll break the ice. It's okay. It's like one. One example that I really like. Using, well, 2 examples actually. So I was talking to my nephews, and it's like, hey, add me on Facebook. So it's like, uncle, nobody uses Facebook anyway. It's like Instagram. So like, it's the new norm for them, and I think when you get to new norm, it's going to be easy. Before this, it's like, susahnya guna Zoom, susahnya Google Meet ni, susahnya Microsoft Teams. But now it's like, I teach using Zoom. It's like, this is normal. So I think it's about making that normal, making that norm, making that a new norm. I think that's important in that. Yeah.
And I guess the point is to start small and be comfortable with what you choose to start with, and then be comfortable with that, and then just evolve from there. Yeah.
Yeah. And don't forget to start today.
Okay, so we are already on a virtual conference, so we've made the first step.
Yeah.
There we go. We have one more question from Dr. Panchiawe. Interesting. May I know what software it is? Sorry, I missed the early part. So I quickly typed in GarageBand. I think that was what he was referring to when you showed the music making and the video.
Yeah. So let me just give a quick explanation on that. True. What Dr. Raza was saying, GarageBand is for music creation, and Keynote was using for animation. Keynote is actually equivalent to PowerPoint, but you can draw on it and make animations. So that was Keynote. And Clips, you could do the video. So that's Clips. Just download it. It's for free. The last software was iMovie. So and you can just straightly record, put some effects there. I did all that in just I think half an hour. So put everything there. But I think the most important thing is breaking the ice with technology. But I think the idea is the most important. It's not similar to how we teach face to face. We can just bring a lecture and then just like chonting and a whiteboard, voila, finish. But now it's about creating, recreating, redesigning what you can do on digital, and I think it's more interesting to do that. Yeah, and don't forget to start today, Prof.
Yes, let's. Yes, I'm sharing a few. I'm seeing a few comments. Good sharing, making it a new norm. So you have managed to convert at least one person today from this 1 hour sharing session.
Yay.
Well done, Helmi. Yeah. Maybe we could go into a little bit of reflection on how we can ensure that the students get what we are trying to give. We could be very passionate about creating our digital content and putting it out there in the spirit of personalized learning that the conference is chiming about. Any comments from you about how to gauge the students' acceptance? Maybe they are, 80 or 90% of them are afraid of technology or not used to technology. So when the technology comes, the knowledge becomes sidelined and the technology becomes a big distraction for them. So that might be an issue among students who are not so much used with technology and having lecturer or environment or a system that is so into technology that they forgot to test the water and see how much readiness is it from the student side that they could start slow. Any comments or experience from your side would you like to share?
Okay, thank you, Dr. Azhar. Very interesting comment. So there's two parts of that. I think so. The first part is again about the technology acceptance or technology readiness of the students. And as I showed you in the, I think if you see that Grandpa and Helmi, it's about understanding the new norm, of digital space and biological after this, right? So physical, you understand that you have to go to the university with a car, right? Like you have to go to the physical space. And now you have to go to the learning space, the digital space, right? So how do you go to the digital space? You have to use the technology, iPad, MacBook, iMac, your laptops, okay? And the internet, kan? Tak ada internet tak boleh. You cannot go because you have the road, kan? Kereta tu, the car, you have to have the road there. The road to the digital space is the internet. So you have to have it. So I think it's about going through that first, because everybody's like, blaming, learning management system, this is not good, this is there, but it's not about the system. Sometimes they don't understand the whole picture. It's the server. You have to understand the server at your house, with the internet connection at your house, the internet connection at the university, of the teacher, of the lecturer. So I think that plays a big part in that. Breaking the ice, I think, in the new norm, the lecturer, maybe the first class is about technology only. This is the new setup I'm gonna do. Everybody, so do that. So I think it's about breaking that ice with the students, and making a new norm. So the second one is redesigning our teaching and learning towards not giving the right answers, because if you give the right answers, the students won't think. It's like swap. You're just giving food, giving the answers. No, it's about the right questions to probe them. Okay. Is that right? No, I don't think so. Let them think first. And then at the end of the session, these are the right alternative answers. 3 answers are right. 6, 7 answers wrong. Okay, let them think, let them be wrong. I think so that has to be shifted. The mind shift has to be there for futuristic education to happen. I think it's now moving there, definitely. Physical, digital, biological, and the new norm. I think, let's move to that. And again, let's start today.
There we go. I think you have ended it really, really well. We've reached the end of your session. We really truly enjoyed the animations and the skills, and you have actually managed to tickle our curiosity, at least, into exploring for those who have not yet bought an iPad or any other technology for that sense. Okay, so thanks, Dr. Helmi, so much for your sharing and your enthusiasm. And I would like to thank all the audience, our virtual online audience, for your questions and your participation, and for joining us today. We will take a short little break before our next session, which is our plenary forum, and we will see you once we are ready.
Thank you.
See you.
Bye.
Bye. everyone, welcome back. We are now in our plenary forum session. We have all our speakers online, I can see.
Thank you. I was struggling this afternoon, sorry.
Alhamdulillah, you made it. We made
Makcik
it. You all
tua
made it.
kan?
Oh, janganlah.
Hayati.
There we go.
Good to see you.
All the superwomans. Let me just introduce our moderator, Dr. Amira. And I will then pass the floor to Dr. Amira to proceed with our forum, okay? So, Dr. Amira Firdaus is a senior lecturer at UM's Department of Media Studies, Faculty of Arts and Social Sciences. She's also the chief of Unit for Leadership and Wellbeing, LeadWell, at UM's Academic Enhancement and Leadership Development Center, ADEC. She was previously the inaugural head and coordinator of the Emerging Scholars Leadership Advancement, that's the Emerald Program, which is ADEC's flagship training program for new academic staff. Dr. Amira has a deep interest in the career development and well-being of early career academics, including postgraduate students. She enjoys close mentoring relationships with her PhD and master's students and occasionally conducts postgraduate research talks and clinics for others. In both teaching and learning and development, she makes conscious effort to create a safe space for learning in a participatory and social constructionist environment. Dr. Amira values collegiality and community and believes that a growth mindset is essential to develop and enhance strength, overcome weaknesses, and foster resilience. A multidisciplinary research interests span across the field of positive psychology, aging, organizational studies, as well as media and communication. Dr. Amira holds a PhD in communication from the University of Melbourne, where her thesis was suggested for the Chancellor's Prize by her external examiner. Wow! Her first international book network news work, Media, Globalization and Digital Journalism in Malaysia, is currently available online from Lulesh, Taylors and Francis, as well as Amazon Books and other retailers. So Dr. Amira, you'll be the perfect person to lead and moderate our plenary forum for today, titled Leading Personalized Learning with Grit and Resilience. So without further ado, I'd like to welcome our very own dear Dr. Amira Firdaus. Please.
Thank you so much, Dr. Azza. Thank you for bringing us to this final last session of our LITEC 2020 conference, our very first virtual conference from ADEC. Dr. Azza and I think all the speakers, the presenters before this have done a really, really amazing job. And that is actually, I think, an exemplar of grit and resilience in a new normal time. So that was really great in terms of actually showing people how, we can actually lead personalized learning with grit and resilience. So I am so very, very happy today that we'll be having a forum panel with, as what Dr. Azza mentioned just now, super women, very strong, wonderful, nurturing women educators from the Malaysian higher education landscape, very well known, very well respected, and in many cases, very well loved women. So I am very, very happy to introduce, let me first, I guess, welcome our panelists for today, and then I will introduce them one by one. Although I think many of you probably already know them, so probably an introduction will just be repeating things that you already know, but they are wonderful educators that we can look up to, so I'll be very happy to do the introduction. And after I introduce our panelists, we will have a very short go around where I will ask each one of our panelists what their take is on personalized learning and grit and resilience. And then after that, we will go right into the most important part of this panel forum, which is that we're going to hear from our respected, esteemed panel members, from each of them about personalized learning from different angles and different perspectives. and then that will be followed by a Q&A and open discussion before we close the forum and then move on to the final session, which is actually the closing session for the LITEC 2020 conference. So allow me to say very, very welcome and thank you, firstly, to Professor Dr. Suria Baba. Prof. Suria, thank you for making it. Finally, alhamdulillah. Allow me to also say welcome to Associate Professor Insignor Dr. Hayati Abdullah from University of Technology, Malaysia. Prof. Hayati, welcome and thank you for making time.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you so much. And allow me to also say welcome and thank you for making the time for the forum today to University Melaya's very own Associate Professor Dr. Wan or Liza Wan Mahadi from Faculty of Engineering, University Melaya, and formerly from ADEC. Thank you, Prof. Wan, for joining us.
Thank you for having me in the forum as well.
Thank you. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I've introduced our three lovely ladies. Allow me now to start off by introducing them a little bit more deeply. I will start off with Prof. Dr. Suria Baba, University of Malaysia, Kelantan. Now, she's in University of Malaysia, Kelantan, but as some of you may know, Prof. Suria Baba was actually formerly from our very own beloved UM as well. But now, Prof. Suria is the Director for the Center of Excellence in Academic Development at UMK. She is also the Founding Director of Teaching and Learning Center at UMK and the Founding Deputy Director for the Institute of Educational Leadership, IEL, at UM itself in 2011. And Prof. Suria was the chairperson for the ICGPA Malaysia and currently is the chairman for National OBE or Noble since 2018. She's a deputy chairman for National TNL Directors Council, Magnetic, Malaysia Center for E-Learning, MyCell committee member. She's also a committee member for the Malaysian Public Universities Heads of E-Learning, MEPTA, and she's a consultant for the MOOC program for Erasmus Plus EU in MedLit project from 2016 until 2018, and she also had the honor of being invited as a visiting professor at the Center of Educational Assessment, University of Helsinki, Finland. She has devoted her entire career. It's been, I think, a wonderful career. She's devoted the entire career on, just educating and enhancing educating and teaching and learning. And she's also very, very involved previously as a committee member for the Blended Learning and Malaysia E-Learning Policy 3.0, Depan 2020, as well as committee member for Blended Learning Substitute Higher Education 2020. And she also recently, just 2 years ago, won the MOOC Special Award at UCEL, and she also is a winner of the Ministry of Education ACRI competition 2018. And of course, under her guidance and supervision, UMK has done very, very well, winning the most gold during an IUL Carnival of E-Learning in 2018 and 2019. I think we need to bring Prof. Suria back to UM. Would you come back, Prof? Okay, so now allow me to also introduce our panel number 2. Very, very happy and very, very honored to introduce more deeply Associate Professor Insignor Dr. Hayati Abdullah. Now, Prof. Hayati is, of course, from University of Technology Malaysia, UTM, but she is actually not just a representative of UTM, but also a representative of the Malaysian Council for Heads of Teaching and Learning, also known as Magnetic, which she currently chairs. So she's actually someone that basically anyone in TNL within the country would know about Magnetic, and also Prof. Hayati, and we're so honored that you're actually be able to join us here today. Now, Prof. Hayati is a mechanical engineer by training, and she joined the mechanical engineering faculty at UTM back in 1986, and then later she was attached to the Faculty of Chemical Engineering and Natural Resources in 1990. Prof. Hayati is a professional engineer registered with the Board of Engineers Malaysia, and she is the first lady engineer to hold the position of honorary treasurer of the Institute of Engineers Malaysia. And of course, close to our hearts, she has spent more than a quarter of a century, over 26 years, educating aspiring mechanical engineers. Prof. Hayati has been involved in educating undergrads and postgrads, and she also teaches professional engineers in various industries, and she has developed her very own innovative teaching style where she emphasizes the achievements of learning outcomes, and she actively practices active and cooperative-based learning to allow her students to expand their learning sphere beyond classroom education. Prof. Hayati has successfully pioneered the Content Area Tutoring CAT program in UTM and initiated the use of the developmental model approach for academic advising in UTM. And in 2015, she was awarded the IEM Women Engineer Award. So Prof. Hayati is an accomplished engineering educator, as well as a leader in TNL in Malaysia, and we're very, very honored and very, very happy to have Prof. Hayati with us. Thank you, Prof, for joining us. And allow me now to also introduce our very own Associate Professor Dr. Wan Liza Wan Mahadi from the Faculty of Engineering, Department of Electrical Engineering. Now, Prof. Wan was awarded a Certificate of Appreciation from UTP back in 2015. She also has been awarded a National Certificate of Excellence Service at as well as a University Excellence Service Certificate in itself as well. And her excellence in service and excellence in teaching and learning is extensive, and she has been awarded numerous certificates and awards for her excellent work. She also has a letter of appreciation for Intercell Chip Pack Sdn Bhd and a letter of appreciation from the EEC 2000 Regional Conference, including various other letters of appreciation as well. Now, Prof. Wan's area of expertise is actually not just simply in her field of specialty, which is, of course, electrical engineering, but she's also an expert in executive coaching, and she has actually been coaching many people for professional development and also for personal growth. And I think that's one of the things that she's also practicing in her own classroom with her students. So we'll be hearing more about that later on. And I would also like to share, since this is an ADEC conference, that Prof. Wan is formerly a head of unit at ADEC several years ago when ADEC had a coaching and mentoring unit. So it's very, very nice to have Prof. Wan back again joining us at ADEC for the LITEC conference. So thank you once again. Welcome once again to Prof. Suria, Prof. Hayati, and also Prof. Wan. Well, now that I've introduced our esteemed speakers, allow me just to speak just a couple more minutes about the theme of our plenary forum today, which is leading personalized learning with grit and resilience. So we have been talking and learning and hearing about amazing practices of personalized learning and really wonderful efforts and attempts from various University of Malaya lecturers as well as amazing speakers from other institutions on personalized learning. And, you know, when we're talking about personalized learning, it's actually personalizing the learning so that the student is able to learn the best that they can. And of course, when we're talking about personalized learning in an environment that is very, very, as we know now, very volatile, sometimes a bit uncertain, complex and ambiguous, also known as the VUCA world, there are many compelling arguments for personalized learning. because students and lecturers not only have different backgrounds, different socioeconomic situations and circumstances, but students as well as lecturers as well have a wide different range of learning styles and teaching styles and abilities, and are also facing different digital divides and varying personal challenges. So personalized learning is a compelling approach to addressing these issues and challenges and differences, and also opportunities that we can gain from the different strengths that different students and lecturers have. And all of it, I think, at the end of the day, leads to building grit, this determination, this strength, this ability to go and just bulldoze through and just work really, really hard to try and get the learning done no matter what, and to persevere through difficult times. And then when times are really difficult and maybe sometimes students might fail, or lecturers may sometimes even find that they are not teaching as best as they can and their teaching just didn't work out, we can actually have resilience and bounce back from these kinds of adversities. And I think personalizing the learning to the individual student's needs and circumstances, and personalizing the teaching, we can do that for ourselves to our own individual strengths and talents as lecturers, is definitely one way of nurturing grit and resilience in our students, and also in lecturers ourselves. And of course, in both normal and also in the new normal times, lecturers and educators, we're not merely the conduits of knowledge to our students, but we're also the pivotal leaders of their learning. So beyond delivering our lessons and assessing learning, we actually have the potential to nurture our students for success and to nurture them for grit and resilience in this very, very uncertain world. Well, ladies, profs, thank you for your patience, allowing me the liberty of sharing a little bit of my take on leading personalized learning with grit and resilience. Allow me now to just get very quickly, maybe a 5-minute intro from each of our esteemed guests to get your take on it before we move on to each of your very specific and focused discussion on what you each personally feel about personalized learning. So first, if I may invite Prof. Suria. Prof. Suria, could you share with us what is your take? What do you see as personalized learning and grit and resilience?
Okay, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and a very good afternoon. Can you all listen to me?
I can hear you, Prof.
Thank you. Okay, thank you, Amira, for such a wonderful and awesome introduction. Of course, thank you to EDEC community, EDEC members, and of course, when Dr. Azhar give me a ring and requesting me to be part of the panelists, I did not have any pause. I said, okay, thank you. I will accept it without any hesitation. Because as my alumni, and of course as a student and as a former lecturer, is always in my heart. Okay, back to your question. All right. The topic being addressed today by the three of us later on and moderated by Dr. Amira is timely, because due to the conditions and the situation and the environment of higher education landscape, who has changed tremendously, dramatically, dynamic, these are the timely topic that we should discuss. And of course, we would like to see, we would see the struggling, how we adapt and adopt on how personalized learning should take place. But of course, each of us has our own operation definition, and we were given the topic, and we will put on our thinking and of course our inputs in our session later on, Dr. Amira. Thank you. Okay.
Thank you so much, Prof. Suria. Thank you, Prof. Sorry, I was a little bit of a delay, so sometimes that happens, but it's okay. We are gritty and we will persevere through this. So now, may I invite Prof. Hayati to share about your take on personalized learning and grit and resilience.
Right. Thank you, the lovely Dr. Amira. I suppose you can hear me. You're smiling. Okay. Right. So, Assalamualaikum and a very good afternoon to everyone. Thank you, Prof. Azhar, and the organizing committee. Well, I should say congratulations, Prof. Azhar and the organizing committee of LITEC 2020 for successfully organizing this great event. Yeah. And also thank you for having Magnetic as a co-organizer of this event. Yeah, Prof. Azhar, we do hope that this collaboration with Magnetic could continue in the future. Such a pleasure for me to be here as a panelist of this forum and continuing with the conference theme of personalized learning. Well, to answer your question, Dr. Amira, my take on personalized learning, I'm going to start with what it is not. Yeah? Personalized learning is definitely not about I teach and all of you learn at the same time, at the same place, and at the same pace. Personalized learning is also not about hand-holding. To me, personalized learning is about engaging, empowering, and advising. Now, although advising is quite often on the sideline of teaching and learning, and if there is one thing that I would like to see transformed in the Malaysian higher education, it would be academic advising. So personalized learning to me is about creating learning experiences where students have the opportunity to be heard, to make well-informed decisions, to take risks, to be allowed to make mistakes and to be able to reflect on their mistakes and do better. And to do all that, it takes perseverance on both sides of the equation, the lecturer and the students. Now, I believe the COVID-19 episode is a testimony of perseverance in the face of a crisis. We all went through the emergency remote teaching, and yes, it was stressful. But we persevere. Perseverance is about not giving up. And when you don't give up, good things will come to you. Now, let me touch a wee bit on technology. With the COVID-19 experience, I know that we are into online learning and digital education now. You've heard Dr. Helmi just now. And I totally agree that technology is indeed a great enabler in teaching and learning. And I also agree that it facilitates personalized learning. But I also see that human relationship is so very important in personalized learning. And again, on both sides of the equation, the lecturer and the students. Personalized learning to me is about humanizing education. So where are we headed towards personalized learning in Malaysia? In the Malaysian higher education landscape, with a focus on future-ready curriculum, I believe we are moving along the road towards personalized learning, although the road is a road that is less traveled. To transform the road less traveled into a road that is more traveled, one will need grit and resilience. So I'm going to stop here for now, Dr. Amira, and I will pick up from here later on this road less traveled. So back to you, Dr. Amira.
That's beautiful. Thank you so much, Prof. Hayati. We'll be looking forward to learning more about the road less traveled. Thank you so much. Just a little bit after this, we will be going into each of the speakers' own topic on personalized learning. But allow me to ask first, Prof. What do you feel? I know that you're a practitioner of personalized learning and you will be sharing about that later on, but what is your take of personalized learning and grit and resilience in higher education?
Okay, thank you, Dr. Amira. Assalamualaikum and a very good afternoon to Dr. Amira, to Adak, my fellow forum panels today. Can you hear me properly? Okay. All right. Just a few words about personalized learning. it is engaging, it is enriching, it is empowering, it is relatable, it is interactive, and it is adaptable. I think it is the way to go for now and in the near future, as personalized learning actually engaging our mind, our heart, our body, and our soul. I think that is the way to go for the personalized learning. And actually personalized learning as well, it tapped into your gifts and strengths and talent, and you utilize it to its maximum potential. So I think I'll stop here. Later, perhaps during my 15-20 minute session, we will talk more about on how we practice it. Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you, Prof. Wan. Definitely, we would love to learn and can't wait to hear about how you practice, and we can take inspiration from that, hopefully, inshallah. Well, ladies and gentlemen, those of you who are out there, I hope that you're still here with us. If your connection is a little bit, wonky or needs a little bit extra, time to reconnect, don't worry about that. We're still here, persevere through that, and we'll continue with our forum. It's very, very much my pleasure now to go into the main thrust of our panel forum today, which is to hear more in-depthly from all three of our amazing speakers about their specific take on personalized learning with grit and resilience, and leading it from different perspectives. So I won't give a spoiler, but I already know what they will be talking about, and I'm very much interested and very, very much looking forward to it. So without further ado, let's start off, and allow me to invite first Prof. Hayati to continue on where you left off just now.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Dr. Amira. I'm going to share well, I just have like 2 or 3 slides. So let me just start sharing first, yeah? Can you see my slides? Sorry. All right, great. All right, so earlier when I was talking about personalized learning in Malaysia higher education, I stopped at introducing it as a road less traveled. So I'm going to pick up from where I left off. Yes, I believe that the road to personalized learning in the context of the Malaysia higher education used to be the road less traveled. But we have traveled across many major turning points in the Malaysia higher education landscape that is now taking on an accelerated pace towards personalized learning. Now, let me share with you this road towards personalized learning in the Malaysia higher education landscape. I'm going to bring you back to 1985, which is like 35 years ago. Okay. Okay, my slide is not working. I think there's a bit of delay. Let's see. Can you see my slides? No?
Not yet. It was there, but I think it's...
Is it still there?
It's still there, yes.
Okay. So, okay, I'm going to take you back to the time of 1985 when I first entered the academia, and that was like 35 years ago, 1985. Gosh, time flies. Okay, so now about 30 years ago, we were on this lecturer-centered road where the lecturer is at the center of the stage. Yeah, I teach you, and you all learn at the same time, at the same place, and at the same pace. This is what you see in the cartoon here. But of course, at that time, there was no www. The World Wide Web was born on August 1991. There were no social media then. So the students were very much dependent on the lecturer, and thus the reason the lecturer was at the center of the stage, right? So now, that's the road. This is the road that we are on. Very straight road, very safe road, lecturer-centered. Yeah, we were on this safe, straight road for almost 2 decades, almost 20 years. Yeah, from that 1985. Then the Malaysia higher education had a major turning point. Okay, it had a major turning point, and that was when, in 2008, OBE came to our shores. Now, some made jokes about the OBE, saying that OBE is the order of the British Empire. But to most of us in engineering specifically, I think Prof. Wan and myself, I can relate to this, because no OBE means no accreditation. And when Malaysia adopted the OBE, those in charge of teaching and learning in the UAs, most of them would be members of Magnetic, were like the frontliners for OBE in trying to ensure that the paradigm shift from lecturer-centered to student-centered learning happens. Now, this is a paradigm shift, yeah, because OBE is focused on student-centered learning and the achievements of learning outcome. There were a lot of resistance at the beginning, especially when the OBE system was introduced in each UA to help academic staff in reporting the achievements of the learning outcome and for continuous quality improvement. It required grit and resilience to make OBE a culture in the higher education landscape. And I think Prof. Suria can back me up on this. But to me, with OBE and with the focus on student-centered learning, we are really now going towards personalized learning. We then paid attention to active and experiential learning, 21st century pedagogies through the implementation of project-based learning, problem-based learning, community and service-based learning, and many more. And for those not from the education field like myself, Bloom taxonomy became a campus-wide term, and we became acquainted with OBE systems. And one such system is the ICGPA, which is used to assess students' holistic, entrepreneurial, and balanced development. And we have Prof. Suria here. Prof. Suria is, of course, our SIFU for OBE. Yeah. So all this to me is paving the way to the practice of personalized learning. Then, with technology paving the way and breathing new exciting elements in our otherwise traditional classes, another turning point in the Malaysia higher education happened. We were now asked to implement blended learning. Now, the Dasar E-Pembelajaran Negara or DEPAN was launched on 16 April 2011 to support the PSPTN or the Plan Strategic Pengajian Tinggi Negara for quality e-learning. Then came MOOCs, yeah, and the Educator 4.0 program under Magnetic, headed by UKM at that time. And not very far away, the Malaysia higher education then met with another major turning point, which is the launch of the Malaysian Education Blueprint for Higher Education 2015-2025. Now, we were introduced to the 10 shifts, which became the focal reference in the university's strategic plans. Yeah? And the 10 shifts now also provide opportunities for the practice of personalized learning. Now, a very big indicator to me that we are paying attention to personalized learning in the higher education is the introduction of the FRC, or the Future Ready Curriculum Framework. Now, this framework is to be used in designing flexible and organic curriculum. That means students can learn anytime, anywhere, and anyhow. And with pedagogies like heutagogy, peeragogy, and cybergogy. All this, to me, is a milestone in transforming the road less traveled to a road more traveled for personalized learning. But this kind of transformation will require a change of mindset. One that of a growth mindset, and this growth mindset was mentioned by Prof. Karim in his talk. So to me, this growth mindset is a key element in the development of resilience and grit. Only with a growth mindset can we help lecturers and students persevere and develop grit in the face of challenge and adversity. And that was exactly what we went through in March 2020 when we were faced with the COVID-19 pandemic. But the COVID-19 experience gave us a good awakening to the importance of personalized learning, and that it takes grit and resilience for us to embark on this road. But Alhamdulillah, things are moving at an accelerated rate now. For example, we see everything going fully online. We see micro-credentials starting to bloom in Malaysia, which is another great platform for personalized learning. So, Dr. Amira, we are not at the end of the road for personalized learning. In fact, the road is still under construction, but the future looks like it's going to be a road that will be more traveled. So with that, I pass the screen back to you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Prof. Hayati. That road that you have just shared with us, indeed it is a road that is less traveled, but I think more and more of us will be very happy to get on that road with leaders, with inspirers who are actually, using the growth mindset to actually lead personalized learning. And you are very right. I feel that the changes that the Malaysian higher education system has had to actually undergo, and the changes that we as individual lecturers and that our students had to go through, definitely you said it so well. It definitely required a massive amount of grit and a massive amount of resilience. But I think not at the end of the road, but at the bump in the road, we're actually making it. So it's a great analogy. Thank you so much, Prof.
The road under construction.
Yes, the road under construction, but we're still going to go right through. Well, before we go on to our next speaker, I'll be very happy to invite Prof. Suria. If anybody has any questions, very, very quickly, for Prof. Hayati, I can also allow one question from the panel or from the floor. If not, we can also have our Q&A time at the end of the forum. So I'll just wait for maybe 30 seconds. If there's any burning questions right now, I will ask that to Prof. Hayati. If not, we will go on with our second very, very interesting take on personalized learning. So I'm going to count it down. Maybe not from 30, we'll just count down a little bit. Okay, it's getting a little bit slow. I know it's a little bit delayed. So allow me to, oh wait, I think someone is typing on the post. This is the thing about online conferences. It's very, very convenient. but there's always a little bit of delay time. It's not as nice as actually being able to just raise your hand in the middle of the floor and somebody can come to you and give you a mic. There's always this little bit of waiting for that. Okay, so I think we still have someone who is trying to reply, trying to ask a question, but it's taking a little bit of time for the question to actually come through and get published. But that's okay. You will have your opportunity to ask your questions. I think there's actually quite a few that's a bit backlogged right now. We'll do that at the end of the forum. But now, allow me to invite our next speaker, Prof. Suria. I'll give just a little bit of spoilers. Prof. Suria will actually talk about learning analytics and what do we need now. I mean, like, this is a very, very interesting time and road under construction. So, Prof, what do we need now for learning analytics? Over to you, Prof. Suria.
Okay, thank you so much, Dr. Amira. Again, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh and a very good afternoon to everyone here online, to all the panelists, thank you. And of course, my dear friends at EDAC, thank you so much. You have given us such a tremendous introduction, and of course, Prof. Hayati, our dear magnetic chairman, she has addressed a very clear and strong picture of road less travel. Thank you for the new tagline, Prof. Hayati. She has made a very clear mind setting about what higher education of Malaysia has implemented, and it is easier for my presentation that I am now at gear 3 already. She has made the gear 1 and gear 2. So I'm now at my gear 3, and most probably maybe I'll put into my gear 4, and Dr. Wan will continue at gear 5 and back to Amira. Okay, Umu, can you share my slide? Okay, my short presentation will based on the 4 tenets, yeah? And of course, the first tenet will be the fundamentals of what we are trying to address today that has been shared a lot by Prof. Hayati. And of course, we look into some of the fundamental issues, yeah. And of course, the second tenets will be I'll be putting a little bit more emphasis on what is OBE, which has been shared by Prof. Hayati earlier. And of course, what type of graduates to be that higher education of Malaysia would like to produce, or what kind of graduates that we are going to be developed. And of course, I will be sharing the academic analytics that we are dealing with, and I will share some of the student testimony that I've gathered from the UMK. Okay, Umu, can we move forward? When we talk about personalized learning, either we have thought that how can we design? How can I redesign this learning to take place when the technology is so tremendous? How could I make changes in the way I've been teaching for the past 36 years, Amira? I've been teaching. This is my 36 years of career in education, as an educator. So this was a very challenging years for me, especially, and of course, as the director for Center of Academic Excellence and Development, I need to, of course, motivate and need to direct our staff to understand the new features, the new landscape of higher education, which there are a lot of new things, new elements, and a lot of things that are happening today and the future. And of course, personalized learning, afterward I will put the acronym SAPL, will be touched on online learning, something to do with more data, something to do with more analytics, and of course more intelligence. Can you move forward, Umu? And of course we have to connect with the demand of the industry. the demand of industry that need to be captured because it has a lot of value proposition. Yeah? And of course, when we go back into redesigning our curriculum, we need to emphasize on how deep, how wide and how deep will our curriculum will be to enhance critical thinking, innovative thinking, and of course, it should also conceptualize customizing curriculum vision. And one important thing that we need to also embrace is that we need to activate educators' agent behavior, something that we need to know. And of course, with this new dimension, new perspective, we need to build a culture for risk-taking when changes is happening. If we happen to read Forbes report 17 April 2020, Umu, can you just skip a few slides? Yeah, a few more slides. Okay, one more. All right, one more. Forbes has identified 8 required skills post-COVID, and it has touches about how educators should revisit, relook, and whether our curriculum, our environment, has able to produce these 8 required skills. One of the 8, it is adaptability, of course, emphasizing on tech savviness, and with the current technology, the dynamic of technology, we're able to capture and deliver with creativity, innovation. We also had to bear with data, and of course, the student able to learn new things like digital and coding skills. And we did not avoid to emphasize on the EI, and of course, we should be able to handhold the student into leadership skill. And amazingly, irony, in 2018, their higher education, Ministry of Higher Education has already emphasized and come up with the document into producing 9 future-proof skill sets, which are communication and language, flexibility and adaptability, compassion and mindfulness, values and ethics, creative and innovation, critical thinking and problem solving, resilient, leadership, and of course, having to build the student with holistic entrepreneurial mindsets and balanced student. So it seems that what Forbes report 17 April 2020 post-COVID has some similarity on what 9 future-proof skill set that has been addressed by our higher education framing nation, higher education 4.0. So, of course, these are the required skill sets that encompass or that being required to produce, to develop the personalized learning element. And of course, Prof. Hayati has addressed all the documents being tabled by the ministry with mission educational blueprint, mission qualification framework, and all the program learning outcome, all the documents of future-ready curriculum. And of course, with all these documents, we have to churn up and how are we going to conceptualize into bringing the personalized learning element into our student. And of course, that can be done throughout the curriculum. And with the Act 679 in embracing outcome-based education, this is being carried out for years in our higher education. And of course, I could say that 99.9% of all curriculum, academic curriculum or academic program offered by the higher education institutions are all based on outcome-based education. And of course, if Umu, can you just move forward on the OBE cyclic process? Okay. And of course, in OBE cyclic process, we have 6 steps that we have to go through. Of course, the curriculum design. Okay, this one, curriculum design. And we have to emphasize on constructive alignment, which is the main part of the heart of the OBE. We have the data assessment entry, data assessment analysis, intervention of what being reporting. And of course, these are the important part whereby all the PLO's reporting need to be addressed, need to be reviewed, and this is the part whereby the learning analytics should take part. And when we combine or we extract the reporting of student progress or student performance progress of the PLO, this is how our learning analytics will take part and able to give students some information on how they will review their own progress in every semester until they finish up their study at the university. And I would like to emphasize on how our learning analytics being developed. Can I have the next page, Omo? Okay, at this part, of course, we have all the data, and the learning analytics system is whereby it has been extracted from our OBE system. And we need to have our rules for academic analytics. This is the part whereby we need to get all the consensus from the academic program provider, whereby we have to identify the analytics index from student of very, very low level into the higher level or higher achiever. So can I have the next slide, please? This is where we have already developed our rules for academic analytics. And each rules in each level that, of course, we have the consensus of putting from 0.0 up to 4.0 grade matter point. So we have the lowest level who are not achieved, but we did not say the underachiever, but we have put it as bloomers, outshine, aspiring, superior, and excellence. So these 5 levels indicated in our academic analytics rules, so that students who fell under each level able to identify their strengths and weaknesses. And of course, there are one part in every semester whereby they're able to do intervention. We're able to do intervention to improve the learning outcome of the student. So the reporting of this part is very important, and it is personalized for every singles of our students. So if they were in the part, if they were under 3.0, the CGPA, they will become some like maybe they are on the aspiring level, or maybe they are outshine, or maybe they are the lowest level in their cohort. So these are the indicators that able to give them these are the indicators that we will share with the student and of course their academic advisor, so that they both between the student, academic advisor, and of course the program owner able to give more supervision. They will be able more like to coach the student or handhold the student on which area they are still weak of. And of course, at I understood that every university has our own OBE system. Likewise, at the UMK, we have our My Academic Integrated System, whereby we call it as My Eyes at UMK. And we couple up with academic analytic unique identifier performance. This is how it works. When we develop our program, next page please. When we develop our program, the first important thing that we should look at is that what are the strengths of the program? For example, at UMK, almost all programs cut across, they should have numbers of percentage on entrepreneurial skills, which is now laid in table in our PLO 10, and previously it was in PLO 8 in our MQF 1.0. And next slide, please. Okay, so every single program should lay their metrics and also their charts that which PLO will be carried out throughout their study, and of course we will put into semester base, and this is about semester and also the whole program. And it is from the entrepreneur to U2I, whereby the student, one of the program on your right side is the program from the to U2I, whereby the student will be in industry for 2 years, which is on the second year and the fourth year. So you see the PLO 10 will be higher, whereby they are the graduate to be as an entrepreneur. One of the requirement before they graduated, they are being certified, being given the certification as an entrepreneur. And of course, on my left side, on the left side of the PowerPoint or slides is one of the program at UMK. So we need to the program only need to present what is the most to the least PLO in the program structure. So it has to be monitored whether the student has achieved each PLO and what level of the PLO being achieved. So this will be represented in the next slide, please, Umo. So I would share those the two types of student of a very low achievement and compared to the excellent student achievement. You see, I have taken the low achiever of SEM 1 and SEM 7, and the other one will be SEM 1 and SEM 7 of high achiever. We can able to detect that the one with higher grade has a better and a rounded, nice spider web compared to the one in the left side, which has some part which is not in balance. So can we move to the next slide, please? So this shows that at every single semester, we can see the growth of the student performance, and this is where the analytics would play a major role. They're able to identify and detect what needs to be learned. And of course, to close the loop of every semester, it should be able to have the reporting, not only of the program, but also the student performance. And if it's the student if the student unable to achieve certain level of PLO, there will be intervention for that particular PLO. For example, maybe leadership skill, for example, communication skill, or maybe, for example, entrepreneurial skill. If it is not achieved to the level that we has anticipate, there will be an intervention for that particular, and there will be program to support them. So next slides, please. And these are the low achiever. You see the condition or the kind of the growth of the spider is not as blooming as the one with high achievement. Okay, next. So this is what some of the practices that has been done at UMK, from zero to hero, nucleus intervention, Kaizen in learning workshop, and so forth. So PLO need more focus, and we need to redesign so that the PLOs actually accustom toward the student personalized learning. And of course, there are rigorous monitoring and evaluation for the non-performing PLO. So CQI takes place. So I will come to another important part, academic analytics, where we identify the student learning analytics within our system, whereby there are two cycle process. One is the PLO reporting, and of course the academic analytics takes place, while PLO reporting is to complete a circle per semester or per whole study, and academic analytics will assist the student on their progress. So every semester, student will be given their charts or their spider web to ensure that this has to be addressed after the reporting has been given to the student. So meaning to say, student itself able to recognize, able to revisit, they're able to detect what need to be what need to be add on, what else need to be given, so that the balancing of their the balancing of on the PLOs able to improve their performance. So the next slide, please. So of course, under our system, on the learning analytics, we provide information that support targeted PLOs, and of course we address the cyclic process, the CQI, and at the end the academic analytics takes place. So the next slides please. The AA UIP is actually connecting between PLO reporting, and of course we look at what is the trending PLO that we able to focus, and of course with the learning analytic we able to take action on our student performance. I will share a few of our testimony of our student. One is a student who are the graduate from hospitality, but she has jumped into being a COD manager. She was very active during COVID, during the pandemic, since March till now. As a hospitality graduate, she able to put some delicacies, and of course this has been really captured or really being welcomed by the community, especially in Kelantan. So meaning to say, student with hospitality background but with the entrepreneurial element throughout their study, she able to come out with her own business. Of course, it was tough at the beginning, but eventually she has really make it through, and it has really helps her not only to have her own job, but she created a job. This is something that is very amazing. And of course, the next slide please. We had our 2U2I student who has graduated from the Sustainable Science Program, who works in Marina Mandarin Singapore, and she has really put her respect on what she has learned, and this is something I might say we have, because this group are the first pilot study 2015 under ICGPA, and we really made a very close monitoring upon their progress and their reporting. So this group of students, when we asked on their what they have been doing, and they sent us their testimony. And the next example is even more interesting. Asian is one of our pilot group of 2 years in the university, 2 years at the industry. She has earned more than us because she is running a business, online business for bigger size attire. So she was very confident and very amazingly, she able to share what she has gone throughout her study at UMK, how the curriculum really put emphasis on personalized learning, because they were a small group, 48 of them, and they are the pioneer of our entrepreneurship program graduate. And of course, our next one were another entrepreneur which graduated recently, Daniel, who has owned his own company within 3 years, starting when he started his study at the UMK, and he earns 6 digits right now. So I think this is amazing because they have been monitored, every single of them, every single semester when reporting takes place. So at the end of it, we able to see the growth of the student, the stage of what Malaysia Education Blueprint Shift 1 has always emphasized, to develop holistic entrepreneurial mindsets and balanced graduates. That is happening if we really play a role, if we really put emphasis on contextualizing our curriculum, that put an effort into bringing or into developing personalized learning. So the next slide, Omo, this is what I call the stage of holistic, entrepreneurial and balanced student, whereby OBE cyclic process is the main driver that direct the student study, that direct the student performance, and we at the same time we will do the monitoring and evaluation upon their study, upon their graduation. With that, thank you for a moment, and I will take a question when it comes to my turn of answering any doubt and any question later. Thank you, Dr. Amira. Pass back to you.
Thank you, Prof. Suria. And if, as Prof. Suria said, if anyone has any questions, please feel free to post them. I will wait just a couple of seconds. If the questions cannot come through now, we will get to them at the end during the open discussion. Prof. Suria, I have to say that, you know, it's just amazing, actually, if you think about it. The Malaysian higher education system and landscape is actually already moving into personalized learning and already setting our students up to be gritty, to be able to persevere through getting bad marks and bad grades, and then to actually rise above that and be resilient, and then to actually, you know, improve themselves. So thank you, Prof, for sharing about the analytics, and it's really also very useful, I think, that you showed us the spider webs, because that actually gives a very good visualization of how intervention through the learning analytics can actually help students when we actually personalize their learning based on those interventions. So okay, we're still not getting the questions through yet, so we'll get to the Q&A a bit later on. Thank you again, Prof. Suria. And now I am very, very happy to welcome and invite again Prof. 1 to share with us how she actually practices personalized learning on the ground, in the field, in her own classroom with her own students. So Prof. 1, over to you.
Thank you, Dr. Amira. Can you hear me now? Okay, great. Wonderful sharing from Prof. Suria and Prof. Hayati. So, okay, as Prof. Suria mentioned earlier, she is passing her baton to me now, Gear 5. All right. Okay, great. And Umu, do you have my slides you can share? Okay. Actually, what I'm going to share here is experience sharing in practicing personalized learning with students. Both our panelists, Prof. Suria and Prof. Hayati, has explained in depth on the background of our education and so on. So let us move to the experience sharing. Okay, next slide, please, Umo. All right. I would categorize the personalized journey as an individualized journey, learning on what, when, where, and how to tailored to meet students' strengths, skills, needs, interests, as well as experiences, especially for mature students. Okay, next. All right. As Prof. Hayati mentioned earlier on, the road less traveled. Okay. Same as a personalized journey, because I do believe that everybody has a different path. Some might collide in some of the path. However, we have our own path and we have our own pace. So in preparing path of personalized learning journey, and what I use here is with the essence of coaching, the first thing is to get an agreement, meaning willing partner both from the lecturer, professor, and students. And next, both must have passion. Both must be passionate in embarking on the previous slides. Okay. In embarking on this journey. So the professor is passionate to nurture and guide the student, and the student must have passion in learning and willing to better himself or herself. I think that is very important. Okay, then again, in practicing the personalized learning, time is of an essence here as well. Depending on the situation, because depending on the size of the samples or the size of the class, it could be quite time consuming. So time allocated is subjective, and both parties must be willing to invest in time. And another one is emotion. Practicing it, it could be emotional, could be an emotional roller coaster as well for some, and it could be a plain sailing for another. So as a professor, we must have the non-judgmental attitude. It is a student's agenda, it is not our agenda. And the student must accept his or her own pace, and of course their own benchmarking. Once this few situation has been addressed and agreed upon, so the rest will be history. Okay, next, Umu. And I think I cannot see this, the few things down here. It's okay. All right. The platform of the personalized learning, you must have a good chemistry between the professor and students. And how do we obtain those good chemistry? Number one, the rapport must be there. Number two, the presence must be there. Number three, you must have mutual respect. And of course, with mutual respect comes trust. And having all those things, both parties must have the self-awareness, of which we can instill as well at the end of the day, the self-belief. That means responsibility and ownership of the path or the journey that the student will take from start to finish. And of course, we equip ourselves with our active listening skills, and as of course the powerful questioning, meaning that practicing effective communications. Okay, next. All right. The case study of personalized learning, I have two here because I was fortunate to be able the past few years to lead an organization outside UM that is a GLC. So I managed to apply the personalized learning for both the university platform as well as on the GLC platform. So for the university, mainly we have our undergrad and postgrad, and actually it is subject to many points. Yeah, either we have the big class, I would consider big class bigger than 20, medium class between 20 to 30, Small class, less than 10, for example. For the small class, hardly we have undergrad with a small class. Normally, for our masters, taught course masters, we can have between 20 to 10, roughly. Or a very small class, meaning 1 to 2 students in general. Normally, we handle the small class for our special semester or graduating students. Or another one is workshops. For example, in UM, the past, I think it was in 2014 and in 2015, we have in Faculty of Engineering, we have enrichment program. This is actually a special program for under-op students for 3 months. And another one is a workshop mentoring, as well as out-of-class meeting, discussions, coaching session for either PhD, master's, final year project, design project group, or special cases. And again, our student can be subdivided into 2, that is full-time as well as part-time students. That is on the university undergrad and postgrad side. And for the organization, I had an opportunity, it is a learning organization. It can be categorized as managers, administrators, field experts, officers, facilitators, general workers. So what I have noticed important in this organization is on the essential of communications and identifying individual strength as well as job matching, and of course personalized work duty. So in a way, whenever either it is in the university or at any organization, when learning involved, personalized learning has a lot of benefit. Okay, next. Okay, this is just a quick one on building rapport, is where we start to get to know our students. Normally in class or in workshop, we can just start asking open-ended question. Presence. I think this is very, very important when we are in a workshop class or with students, to be there, all of us, mind, body, and soul must be all there. And another one is, of course, mutual respect and trust. That means we lead by example, demonstrate respectful behavior, and create a comfortable environment. This is where our small chat is very important to ask, how are you? How was your journey coming to the university? Those small talk will help actually to break the ice. Okay, next. Okay. Actually, this is just on building awareness, responsibility, and self-belief in our classroom or in the workplace. Actually, we can instill all of this building awareness, etc., by having a more interactive session with our student. Next. Okay, I would call self-awareness as an enabler. For example, what we have been practiced in class, later I will share, either a questionnaire, I will put a questionnaire at the beginning of the class, or if it is a small class, I will have a little chat with the students. So because some of our students are not aware of their own potentials, not aware what they are good at. So instilling and developing self-awareness actually requires an information gathering perspective, and it will increase as well adaptability and their flexibility. And we feel that an increased self-awareness actually can build resilience, and self-awareness also improves our ability to empathize with others. Okay, next. Okay, reflection of oneself. Who are you? Do you know yourself? This self-awareness. Do you know your strength? I will not focus so much on your weaknesses. As we grow our strength, our weaknesses will become smaller and smaller. This is the hard question. Okay, next. Okay, I think it's okay. Next. All right. So steps used is learner profiles, meaning that provides understanding of each student's individual strengths, experiences, needs, motivations, progress, goals. Actually, it is quite helpful in order for us to, in making decision, for us to impact student learning positively. And actually it is good for students as well, as they learn their own profile. And normally, how do we do this? We can conduct an initial coaching session to map and structure their learning profiles. And personalized learning paths as well. We can customize a learning path and pace that adapts based on his progress, motivation, goals, or the situation they are in. Because our students as well, as they grow older, some of them has a lot of responsibility, some of them has a lot of what we call it resistance, so-called resistance during their journey. So as long as they identify, accept, and willing to move forward, I think things will be all right. So another one is flexible learning environment arrangement to accommodate different learning styles or to accommodate different learning situations. For example, a working student, students who are already past their 4 years, for example, who has to earn a living. So this is when we need some flexible learning environment. Okay, next. All right. The model that we can use, this is actually the coaching model that developed in the UK for the corporate coaching, but I found it very, very useful to use it with our students and been practiced this quite a lot, especially in workshop. Okay, to use the GROW model, that means identifying goal, their reality, their options, and the way forward, what they want to do. Okay, next. Okay, method that is used in practicing personalized learning. I use questionnaires, observation, interactive group discussions. This is for a big group. Yeah, if you have, for example, more than 20 in a class, because we cannot have it one-to-one. So either they choose the topic or given topic to them. And communications, summarizing topic or understanding, etc. And as well as coaching session. Okay, next. Okay, this is an example of pre-coaching questionnaire. I call it Unlock Your Potential series. The student will ask to provide a brief outline of their background and what is the most important to their life and who are the most important in their life and whether their life is one of their choosing, and you will be surprised to hear so many stories. And a scaling question, how happy they are with their life and what things that make them happy. And again, scaling question and how motivated they are in their study, in their work, in their personal life, and what motivates them. This is one of the pre-coaching questionnaire. Normally, I follow up with more questionnaire to really understand their background, that later we can personalize the learning based on their strengths, etc. Okay, next. Okay, observation, observe, look at their body language, communication style, learning style, teamwork, and as well as other things. Yeah. Next. Okay, for a big group, the interactive group discussions is divided into group of, for example, 4 students, and each group will propose or be given a topic. We observe during their discussions. If there are not so many groups, normally I will go and start to listen to the way they're asking questions, the way they discuss, the way they're forming sentences. So you can understand or you can identify what stage they are now and what is needed to open them up a little bit, to be a bit more open, a bit more aware, and a bit more a bit more confident, increase of self-esteem, increase of self-confidence, etc. And the presentation, sometimes the ice can be broken. We can break the ice using presentation if necessary. Next. Communications. Okay. Try to engage active communication in class. Let all students participate by group work, or sometimes just let them just talk any topic what they are good at. Because some students actually, like Prof. Suria did mention earlier, they are a student, but at the same time they have their own company. Sometimes I spend time when they come to talk about research or to talk about their academic life, but actually 3/4 of the time they were talking about their business. All right, next. Okay, the process is awareness. They must be aware. Ice breaking. Normally ice breaking, we can just ask. Normally I ask one word or one sentence to describe their last week. Building rapport. Communication, meaning active listening, powerful questioning, open-ended questions, and grow model like before, and paraphrasing and summarizing to identify what they are trying to say. And summarizing, normally I will ask them to summarize what they understood from our discussions, or what they understood from the class just now, or what they understood from their own team discussions. Next. Okay, results obtained. We have noticed that they have trust and happy learning environment, and of course, identification of student strengths and abilities, ownership of learning process, they own it, accountability, self-belief, self-awareness, increase in self-esteem, and of course, confidence level, and they're becoming non-judgmental, which is good. Sometimes they are the worst judge of themselves. I'm sorry, doctor, I'm not good at this. Something like that. So now that one can be erased, non-judgmental. Empowerment, they feel better, they feel that they can reach the sky. Happiness, and of course, they can reach their goal. Okay, next. Okay, conclusion. This is the university's conclusion. I would like to share from the organization, the GLCs. Actually, at the end of the day, after we have done some personalized learning, the job matching, expert profile matching, last year they have managed to bag a few gold awards on learning, which is to me is a good output. From the university side, from our enrichment program, that is for under-op students who obtain 2.0 and below, one student actually from under-op status to dean status. This is from our enrichment program output. So when I asked him, it's just a simple word. I said, okay, what make you fly from under-op to the dean's list? He said a simple thing. I feel that I'm being heard. Somebody is listening to me. How powerful is that? And forgiveness. One student, good student, start start getting worse and worse and worse in terms of grading. But he was coming in with the straight A's SPM students. After a few coaching sessions, because of his anger to his family member, his anger actually results in blocking or creating a barrier to his achievement. Towards the end, after one semester, he said he forgave already, it's forgiveness, and actually he is happy, and he start flying high again, which is very, very good. And one mature student, almost of a retirement age, confessed that because during the personalized learning in the master's course, I said, okay, since he said he is quite weak theoretically, in that case, that is fine. Use your experience and team up with your other team members. So at the end of the day, he feels that his experience matters, which is a good output. And Another one is one student's achievement after shouldering family responsibilities. His father was very sick, so he has to take over his family responsibilities. So he has to repeat a few subjects. But at the end of the day, when he is he accept that his journey, not other people's journey, and his pace, actually he has managed to get good results. So at the end of the day, I can conclude that the personalized learning is actually instill the ownership of one's journey in learning to completion, and that is so empowering and that is so enriching. Okay, next. I think that's all. I think that's all. Yep. All right. That's all.
Thank you, Prof. Wan, for sharing those very, very heartwarming stories. Actually, we're getting in some questions now, and we will go into an open discussion after this. But just before that, if I can just ask Prof. Wan, this stories that you've heard from the students. Can you share how your personalized attention to them as an educator has actually impacted and changed their lives and actually, made those differences in their lives?
I think the very important thing is for us not to judge them. Non-judgmental. You are here, you are my student, okay, and you are the best judge for yourself. I'm not judging you. What do you think of yourself? What do you think of yourself? What do you think is your strength? What do you think you are good at? And how are you going to handle this? If you feel that you are good at this, but now you are not performing, for example, what do you think that impede your progress? It is again their agenda, not our agenda. Actually, we are just lending our shoulders. For them, sometimes to cry on. For them, just sometimes to talk about it. And at the end, but again, of course, non-judgmental is one of it, but some students need some hand-holding for a while. So we have to maneuver between hand-hold, you release, hand-hold, you release until they are able to journey by themselves. Okay, it is an emotional journey. You have to prepare a few boxes of tissues because you might be watching them crying for 30 minutes until all river run dry. Then they start talking. At the end of the day, it's to encourage them to talk to us. That's all. We don't judge them. You just talk to me. What do you want? Because at the end of the day, we want to instill ownership. This is their journey, their pace, as one of, I think Prof. Hayati and Prof. Suria did mention as well. Their journey, their pace, nobody is judging you. That's all. We just be there. Mind, heart, body, and soul. Presence.
That's really beautiful, Prof. Just one more question before we go to the open discussion. To Prof. Wan, you mentioned early on at the beginning of your sharing that you cannot really set the time because for every student and every journey, there's a different time frame for that. But there's only one you. There's only one Prof. Wan, and I assume you have so many students. So how do you make the time to actually personalize that journey and coach and be there for your students when there's only one of you and so many of them?
Okay, it depends. Sometimes you have to ask their permission. Some of them is okay to be coached in a group. I will have to ask their permission. I will say that, okay, if you feel that you can share with us, please do. Share whatever that you are comfortable to share. Normally, some issues that they are not comfortable to share, they will come to us personally. So the trick is, if time is of an essence, sometimes we can group coaching it. Only what we call it, a certain special cases, then it's going to be one-to-one. Or you can group coach it first, and a certain thing that they cannot talk in public or in a group, then you can ask. But again, you ask their permission. I say, okay, share whatever you are comfortable to share. If you are not comfortable, don't share. So it works. But again, time. Time is of an essence, so we have to be a bit clever on that.
Definitely. Time is always of the essence, and for us educators, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 12 months in a year is just not enough time.
But you will be surprised, Dr. Amira, when you trust them to do their work. Actually, they don't demand your time so much. Only the first stage for them to trust themselves, to trust in their own abilities, to trust in their own strength. So I would say that the fundamental of it is the nurturing of the mind frame, the nurturing of the mindset, the nurturing of the self-awareness, self-belief, self-esteem that they can do it. Once that one is set, the rest will be quite easy.
Definitely. I would actually, I guess now I can move on a bit to the open discussion. If I can respond first to what Prof. Hayati was, to what Prof. Wan was saying just now, I was actually concerned about how you would actually, be coaching and personalize and giving basically personalized attention to each student. But you mentioned just now that they don't take up your time so much. And in my experience, actually, I know it's just amazing what Prof. Wan is doing. I have not gone to that level yet, but I do hope that I'll be able to learn how to do that. But I do keep very open communication with my students, so that if one student or if somebody wants some personal
I think it is lagging.
You're able to hear me. Can I just get a thumbs up? Okay, great.
Okay,
I'm back. So my apologies for that just now.
Hi, Kamila. Can we wait for a while? Few seconds?
Sure.
I think it's glitches here. Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Hi, Kamila.
Hi, Umu.
Okay, you can start again.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Umu, and thank you to everybody in the producer box for working really, really hard. Just before we get back into our panel forum, just allow me to share and congratulate the production team and also the moderator for the entire LITEC, Dr. Azza, because they have been working really, really hard before the last 2 days. And basically, all of them are holed up in ADEC's meeting room, and everybody else around the meeting room is trying very hard to be as quiet as possible. And, they've just been on their toes, always there, checking to make sure that the technicals are okay, checking to make sure, and then communicating with all of the presenters and all of the guest speakers and even the panelists and myself. So, yay to Team LITEC. Amazing. You guys are really great. You are really showing grit and resilience in getting this conference through. Thank you so much. Yay. Okay. Now back to our discussion. I was just sharing just now that I keep a very open communication channel with my own students, so that in case anyone has a need for personalized attention in terms of needing more personalized assessments or assignments or some explanation, that they can actually come to me to do that. And I have quite a number of students, and not hundreds, but quite a lot, definitely like, almost 100 students. And I was wondering about Prof. 1 just now, don't all your students take up all your time? But then, as you said, they don't really take up your time because in my own experience, students are actually very, very cognizant and aware and respectful of our time. When they need help, they really need help, they will come to us if we open our doors, but they're also very, very kind, and they care about our time and our well-being as well. And so I think it's just amazing that Prof. 1 has this really great coaching program structured for the students, and I think I hope that I and others will be able to learn from that as well.
I think, Dr. Amira, that is where mutual trust is. We trust our students, they trust us, and so the rest will be easy.
Yes, that's true. Yes. We trust our students, they trust us.
Yes.
And, I think the Malaysian higher education system itself and all of the organizations and institutions involved in Malaysian higher education, actually, we can see from the blueprint and also all of the new policies coming up that it's getting more and more open, and there's a greater sense of trust for students and also for lecturers and for universities. Of course, there's always complaints still here and there about bureaucracies or accreditations and having to follow certain procedures, but definitely, as Prof. Hayati was sharing earlier on, this road less travel, the journey of Malaysian higher education, it's actually, I feel that it really is bringing out better opportunities for personalized learning and personalized delivery of that learning to like all of students in Malaysia. So getting back to that, I would like to thank and congratulate our panelists, because I think the three of you have just very beautifully laid out the idea of personalizing and leading personalizing learning, and then from there developing and helping students to grow. And of course, grit is all about helping students and lecturers and universities to persevere through the difficult times and the challenges. And resilience is about helping all of us in the university system as well to bounce back from difficulties and adversities, and we have quite a few of that along the way. So now, if I can ask some questions, we've got a couple of questions that have come in through the Q&A. And one of the questions is actually coming from our own, wonderful Prof. Karim, very well-known friends and buddies with our own panelists. So Prof. Karim is actually asking, what's the difference between customized learning and personalized learning? I'll open to the floor. Anybody who would like to respond first, I think, can probably just go ahead. There's only 3 or 4 of us here. Prof. Suria, I can see you're responding. Prof, can you unmute, please?
All right.
Okay, thanks, Prof.
Thank you. Okay, Prof. Karim. Thank you, Dr. Amira. In my perspective, we develop something, and of course we develop to meet the needs of certain party. For example, we as a program owner, we develop a certain program that we able to disseminate to certain quarters of students of that discipline. That would be customized. Whereas the micro level of the personalized learning, as has been mentioned earlier, with certain operation definition or on the perspective, personalized learning will be more engaging. In my perspective, since we have the reporting system on the learning analytics, we able to sort of putting student needs on their performance. Not everyone were born like Prof. Karim. Very sifu in technology. Kena apa sikit lah Prof. Karim tu. Alright. So to customize a personalized learning, it needs a design rather than a so-called like default program, default courses. So in the analytics, in our analytics, learning analytics system, we have a rule on the development whereby students who are unable to perform well in certain learning outcome, for example, leadership skills, or for example, communication skills, and so forth. So what are the actual projects, actual programs that can be customized to improve their performance? So there will be a program with support of rubrics. For example, if they're able to mesh or they're able to improve themselves according to that rubric, meaning that we're able to customize the student so that we are engaging, we are able to improve student performance. So in our case, learning analytics, a little bit of technology there, because we embrace technology, we utilize fully the technology so that this technology will able to give a set of responses, set of feedbacks, so that from that sets of feedback, we will identify which responses relevant to that particular student. For example, communication skill, he or she might not an articulate person. He or she might not having body language presentation. So rubric that support the assessment could be able to be used so that that particular student, he or she able to detect that I have to improve myself in this area. So that is my take maybe. Thank you, Prof. Karim.
Thank you, Prof. Suria, and thank you, Prof. Karim, as well. I'm pretty sure that this response from Prof. Suria, although that's Prof. Suria's take now, I'm very sure that it will also, after this conference and after this forum, go into like a greater debate, and more people will be discussing and talking about it. So we'll be looking forward to that within the higher education networks. We've got
a pinpoint that we should activate educators' agentic behavior. In agentic behavior, a student able to participate themselves, so they're able to self-organize, they're able to be proactive, able to self-reflect, what all those elements that has been addressed by Prof. Hayati and Prof. Wan earlier, and how the curriculum that we have developed is able to instill those elements, etc., so that during the period of their studies, eventually those elements has been empowered to them. For example, a person who has no experience in aviation, he stepped in to be a pilot, but eventually after a period, a durations of the training, he able to simply drive an object on the air. So it is that something like that. Of course, in other form of discipline maybe. Thank you.
Thank you, Prof. Suria, for highlighting and reminding us about that, agency that we actually build within our students through good education, good TNL practices. And actually, if we really think about it, from all of the policies and all of the blueprints and all of the planning that Malaysian higher education, which I think has been quite, even in other countries, they have looked at our planning and actually been quite impressed with the planning that's been done, our blueprint and our strategic planning within the Malaysian higher education system. And if we actually look at it, as Prof. Hayati was discussing earlier on, since 2008 with OBE and then Depan, and then of course the new blueprint, we can actually see that a lot of the education in Malaysia, at least in higher education, is geared at and aimed towards creating and driving and growing that agency among students. And of course, with grit, persevering through difficulties and resilience, being able to pick yourself up, agency, self-agency, and the belief that you can do it plays a really big role. And nonetheless, of course, the systems around that student, the higher education system, the university, the faculty, the program, how it's been designed, and the individual lecturers play a really, really big role in actually promoting and instilling and nurturing that sense of agency among students. And I think it's just something that we probably have things that we can improve, but definitely something that we can be proud of. So alhamdulillah, and hopefully, we can improve even further in the future for that. Now, having touched on Malaysian higher education as a whole, there's a question for Prof. Hayati. Magnetic as sort of like plays sort of like a leading role in training and perhaps in leading Malaysian universities, as well as indirectly Malaysian educators and lecturers. So can you share a little bit, Prof. Hayati, about Magnetic's challenges and how Magnetic as a council has overcome these challenges in leading a growth mindset and fostering grit and resilience among universities and faculties and lecturers? Because whenever there is a new change, whenever the ministry, for example, introduces something new, whenever OBE was introduced, or student-centered learning was introduced, or blended learning was introduced, and as we're moving into micro-credentialing that's being introduced, there's probably a lot of resistance, probably out of fear from among the universities and lecturers. So how does Magnetic overcome these challenges?
Okay, thank you, Dr. Amira, for the question. Okay, Magnetic is composed of or comprised of members from 20 the public universities in Malaysia. So Magnetic is like a melting pot of experts from the whole Malaysia. So it is under the purview of the Bahagian Kecemerlangan Akademik BKA. So whenever you're right, whenever there are some new changes or there are new things that's been introduced, it is always has been brought to the attention of Magnetic, and Magnetic being having all these experts in as members, so we are able to share, we're able to network very quickly. That's the good thing about Magnetic, and we share because at the end of the day, we all go through the same thing, just like the COVID-19, we all went through the same experiences. So I think that's where the strength of Magnetic is, being a melting pot of experts. So we can easily and readily share and bring back to our universities, get more help, more experts to help in forwarding the agendas of the ministry. So I think that's the strength of Magnetic, our network.
Thank you, Prof. Hayati. I really like you've mentioned that the strength is actually the network, and in a way the network is also the relationships and the interactions, and I guess the friendships as well between people from different universities. So that's actually probably something that I think as well fosters a sense of solidarity, a sense of collegiality, hopefully among Malaysian academics, and hopefully that will trickle down to our students as well. Now I will move on to a question. Okay, somebody wrote that they're very okay. Someone has written that they like the personalized learning path that Prof. 1 had shared just now, and the question is this idea of coaching, of personalizing the learning path, of engaging with the students so closely. This is a realization that not many academics have, not all academics have. Some do, some don't. So how do we instill this value in our colleagues and in new lecturers who are just starting out in the higher education?
Okay.
Over to you.
All right. Okay. Thank you. All right. Actually, I've been practicing coaching for more than 10 years. And when I was in ADEC last time, and before I was in ADEC as well, even in UM itself, we have run so many coaching courses for medical doctors, UH medical doctors, for lecturers, even for students. I think what we need is just to create awareness, Dr. Amira, to say that I think in academic, we don't just need coaching, we need mentoring as well. We feel that coaching and mentoring will work hand in hand. It will help both. And perhaps creating awareness that coaching can be a tool to empower ourselves, actually, and to empower our students and our colleagues. And I like what Prof. Suria did mention earlier on regarding when she did mention about when you just go and learn to become a pilot and you do through a simulation, yes? A simulation, and suddenly you can fly a plane. Yeah, in coaching as well, we do role play. For example, when I'm teaching my master's class on work management, we take the real life scenario of the work scenario and put it on the table, and they have to role play. How do you say no to your superior who asks or demands something which is out of this world, which is not within that you can do? How do you say no? How do you say no? Then we are talking about communication skills, isn't it? Either you are a passive communicator, you are an aggressive one, you are a passive aggressive, or you are assertive communicator. So it will go into a communication process. How do you communicate? How you say no in a good way? How do you remain assertive? So answering the question earlier on, I think perhaps awareness of that coaching tools is available to help us to instill mutual trust, to instill good communication, and many things can be made a bit more wider. People knows, and yet people don't know. And actually, coaching others, it won't take, as you asked me earlier, it won't take so much time. When you have the skills already, it won't take so much time. And it is, to me, is a liberating experience. You feel liberated to accept one's faults and flaws, to accept it and to move on. For us and for our student. If we made a mistake, just say sorry. The student made a mistake, say sorry, okay, how can I correct myself? As simple as that. All right, you can correct yourself. You do this. Okay, thank you, doctor. Okay, I will do that. Okay, when can I know? Tomorrow? Tomorrow I'll be a bit busy. How about the day after? Okay, that's fine. Let me know. That's all. Actually, it is liberating. To me, it's empowering, liberating, and it's a happy experience. It's a happy experience for both us and the students as well. Okay, perhaps ADEC can initiate something.
Yeah, definitely. We can talk more and plan more,
Yes.
and we can leverage on
Sure.
everyone's knowledge
Sure.
and share our expertise. So thank you so much,
Okay.
Prof. for sharing about
You're
that.
most welcome.
Thank you. So we've got another question. I think this might be posed to Prof. Suria. Prof. Suria just now shared about some amazing success stories that came out of the sort of like the interventions that has been done for students who are not doing so well, but then you had intervention programs at your institution, and you've got like amazing success stories. So the question is, how do we scale up these success stories? Because usually it's a story of one student out of a class of 50. How do we make it a story of 50 students out of a class of 50 success stories?
Okay, thank you to the person who has asked the question. Well, each program has the program owner who take charge, and of course each program owner has their own coordinators, and of course each classes of that cohort has academic advisor. So there are governance of academic. There are the academics governance. So of course we have the system in our LMS. They're able to connect each student performance to academic advisor. So of course with the student performance and of course as OBE requirement is to put all the documentation of CQI, and everyone has understood that. So the CQI actually has been really put into micro level, that we extract those unachiever, and those unachiever is not only from that particular courses, but it could be in the whole cohort. He or she might come from course A, having problem on communication skills. He or she might come from course B of that particular problem. So program owner, with the support of their coordinators, would able to group them up, and eventually they will propose a customized intervention program. For example, from hospitality, for example, not everyone were born like Chef Wan. No, not everyone were born like Chef Ismail or Wok Yen. So how would they be Wok Yen? How would they be like Chef Wan and so forth? So they will conduct maybe practical skills that lead towards improving their performance. Not everyone would be digital savvy, because everyone hasn't got that chance during their growing, during their schooling time. Everyone hasn't got. Even at UMK, we actually facing numbers of B40. A student came from low income background. Some student has low level of achievement. So that is our challenge. And I always tell our program owners, those challenges will actually help us to grow. So this is where we really customize, like from Faculty of Science Bumi, Earth Science, Faculty of Creative Technology, Faculty of Heritage Program, cut across all. So they could be a micro project or micro program for that little program, or maybe we have mass program, or maybe on calling the very significant guest lecture, maybe for the whole university, for the whole faculty, or only customizing the program itself. So it has been practiced throughout when we started our SGPA, and they're able to see the student progress one after semester to another semester, so that linkages of inter-reporting and intra-reporting is very important. So actually we optimize and utilize the analytics and the big data because we have the experts. I'm not the experts, but I'm able to make them aware that utilizing those experts in data analytics is very important to help the student, rather than we have the nice blueprint, we have nice policies, as you have mentioned, Dr. Amira, earlier. We have everything we have all planned document, we have all planned policies, but the way we execute, the way we conceptualize, the way we help the student, the way we coach and mentor, like Dr. Wan says earlier, this is important. So each and everyone need to be treated fairly. So we embrace equity, we embrace fairness. So we need to tackle those elements rather than it's just like running water. So it is very important. All those policies, all those documents from the higher education need to be executed well, need to be planned well, so that each and every single of our students being attained. Thank you. Okay,
thank you.
Yeah.
I'd just like to add on, Amira, Prof. Suria did mention, because I did talk about academic advising at the very beginning, and the importance of academic advising. Unless, of course, the program is designed with the future-ready curriculum framework, which is, made for, meant also for personalized learning, and if the course deliveries in such a way that it involves the practice of personalized learning. Otherwise, if you, like what you said, if you have a class of 70 in your, you have 70 students, right? How do you, in the conventional courses, how do you ensure, students, get that experience, the personalized experience? So this is where the academic advisors, because usually academic advisors will be appointed to a group of students, maybe not too many, so then they can monitor these students from year 1 till year 4 maybe. So I think the role of academic advisors need to be enhanced, and the model of academic advising should change. Right now, I'm quite sure the way we implement academic advising is through the prescriptive model. So I think it's time that we move towards the developmental model of academic advising. Then it will go hand in hand with personalized learning. So that's just to add. Okay, Dr. Amira, that's.
Thank you, Prof. Hayati. That is actually something that I think we have not really, as you mentioned earlier on, that it's something that we haven't really talked about too much within teaching and learning, is that important role of academic advisors. Because of course with the regular program, students will go from one lecture to another, sometimes to dozens of lectures that they may actually over time may not even be able to remember. But then of course if we have a good academic advising system, it would be something that it can be like a core, as you mentioned. So yeah, I guess that will probably hopefully be the next journey in the road, Prof. Hayati.
Okay. The next turning point.
The next turning point, right. Prof. Hayati, there is another question here, and I think it's probably directed to you. There's a question, probably a very brief answer would suffice. There's a question on OBE. There's a question on what you said just now, no OBE, no accreditation. And now as some universities and MQA is also allowing micro-credentialing. So I think the question here is somebody's asking whether it's applicable to undergraduates and whether micro-credentials should be with credit or without credit, and whether giving a digital badge is enough. I believe it's probably a question that's best answered by individual universities. But Prof. Hayati, I guess as an advisor to the different universities, Magnetic and all the other similar councils under the higher education division. Do you have anything that you would like to share about micro-credentialing and how that might be relevant to personalizing learning?
Okay, first I must make a disclaimer statement first, because the question on micro-credential should be asked to Prof. Karim, because as we all know. But nonetheless, the issue with accreditation is it comes from the professional bodies, right? So these are the professional bodies will need to be, we will need to engage with the professional bodies so that if micro-credentials are also accepted, so that it can be used and they will be able to accredit our programs even if we use micro-credentials. So I think this has to be discussed, you have to really engage the professional bodies because they are the one who gives the accreditation. But for courses that do not require accreditation for professional bodies, then they have more flexibility, I would say. Okay, that's my view on it.
Okay, thanks so much, Prof. Hayati. Now, the question that I think you definitely will be able to, it's definitely within Magnetic's purview. There's a question here. When we're talking about leadership in personalized learning, what do you feel is the best strategy to influence and convince universities and faculty, university leadership and faculty leadership, to make appropriate changes to the existing academic culture that probably doesn't support personalized learning? But how do we make these appropriate changes to the existing academic culture but do it tactfully?
Oh, that's a tough one. That's a tough one. Okay, I think Prof. Suria can also share her experience in OBE and how we've come up to the level of now having the Nobel Committee, just to ensure that we have that OBE culture. So in personalized learning, I think we have still a challenging task ahead, but I believe with what the Ministry of Higher Education is doing, with introducing with the blueprint, with the introduction of the future ready curriculum, I think slowly but surely, and with Magnetic, where all the members of the 20 UAs are there, and we work together. So I think we will have success with personalized learning.
Thank you, Prof. Very, very nicely put. And I share that conviction as well. I think over time we will have that success, bit by bit, slowly but surely, as we go through the road less traveled.
Okay. Yeah. It will be a road more traveled now.
It will be a road more traveled, and it will be a beautiful road with scenic views, inshallah, hopefully.
Inshallah.
Well, Profs, thank you so much for the time that you've spent here with us. We are about to move into the closing ceremony or the closing session for LITEC. But before we close our panel forum, can I just go around the room, or should I say go around the screen, and invite each of you to maybe share just a few parting words, perhaps pearls of wisdom or your own hopes for leading personalized learning with grit and resilience. If I can invite first Prof. Wan, if you'd like to share.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Dr. Amira. Thank you, EDEC, and thank you, the organizer, and thank you, the forum panelists as well. It is an enlightening session, and I have learned a lot as well from all the panelists on our way forward in personalized learning. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Prof. Wan. May I invite Prof. Suria, if you have any parting words of wisdom for our forum?
Well, First of all, thank you again, Dr. Amira, for making the 1.5 hour, I guess, very short and sweet. Good. It was a very good effort from EDEC. Thank you to Associate Professor Dr. Farah. I think she's around. Thank you, Dr. Farah. Of course, other members of EDEC and your committee. And of course, our dear panelists, and the way you schedule our presentation was very beautiful, with the theory background and the system to support, and of course, the gear 5 from Dr. Wan has made it happen. Okay, my take is that utilize all the document, utilize all the policies by the brainy people from all of us, which has been moved by the higher education. So no point having all the beautiful document, yet that's not happening at our level. So the moment of truth actually is us, who able to execute all the planning. And of course, we need to have the leadership skills into influence. We are the influencer actually. People are talking about influencer. We are the influencer actually. We're able to influence, we're able to convince the top management, we're able to direct the university into what higher education landscape demand. And of course, we have like people like Prof. Karim, we have like Chairman Magnetic, Prof. Hayati, and like Dr. Wan, who are very passionate in personalized learning. So we have all the brains here. So put up together, make it collegial, and of course, things will get really beautiful. Okay, thank you. To the less road travel. Okay. Back to you, Dr. Amira.
Thank you very much, Prof. Wan. Wonderful reminder and
Kamila, you are muted.
Okay.
sorry, I was unmuted and then I muted myself. My apologies for that. Well, I just wanted to say thank you to Prof. Suria for that wonderful reminder, a very timely reminder to all of us as well, and highlighting our role as influencers in leading not just personalized learning, but I think every sort of TNL in higher education. So thank you, Prof. Suria. And now it's my pleasure finally to invite Prof. Hayati for any parting words that you would like to share with the LITEC 2020 participants.
All right. Thank you, Dr. Amira, again. I echo Prof. Suria and Prof. Wan for congratulating EDEC and the organizing committee of LITEC 2020 for an excellent organization of this conference and also this forum. Thank you very much for having us here. My last words is that I believe successful people in life are not only talented, but they are very gritty. Yeah? So let us all be resilient and gritty educators. Not greedy, gritty educators, so that we can shape human development in this road more travel to personalized learning. That is all. Thank you so much.
That is absolutely beautiful, Prof. Hayati. Thank you so much. And thank you once again to all of the forum panelists. It's been such a pleasure speaking to all of you wonderful, amazing ladies and profs in higher education. And thank you too to everyone who's been tuning in to the panel forum for LITEC 2020. Please stay tuned because right after this, we will be having our closing session. And with that, it's my pleasure also to hand the screen back to Dr. Nur Azza.
And I gladly accept the screen from Dr. Amira. Thank you, Dr. Amira. And thanks to all the speakers highlighting the road less traveled to become the road more traveled in terms of personalized learning. Before we get to the official closing ceremony by our beloved Prof. Kamila, our TNCAA, maybe we could wait for allow us a couple of minutes to get things set up, and then we'll get back to you.
Associate Professor Dr. Faradina Yusof, Director, Academic Enhancement and Leadership Development Center, EDAC, University of Malaya. Esteemed forum panelists, paper presenters, members of EDAC Management Team, LITEC 2020 Organizing Committee, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. Assalamu alaikum and a very good afternoon to all. Allow me to begin by saying that I am very pleased to be here with you today at this conference for learning improvement and teaching enhancement, even though my speech has been recorded earlier. For the first time, this conference, as the new normal is being practiced because of the COVID-19 pandemic, this year's LITEC has been organized virtually. LITEC 2020 is the fourth conference organized by EDAC in conjunction with the LITEC grant, namely the Learning Improvement and Teaching Enhancement Research Grant, the precursor for this conference. In its fourth edition, the conference now engages a wider community of educators from early childhood, primary and secondary, all the way up to higher education, both public as well as private. This year's LITEC, bringing the theme Personalized Learning, an educational approach that aims to customize learning for each student's strengths, needs, skills, and interests. In 2019, 28 successful applicants have been granted LITEC to embark on their teaching and learning research in personalized learning. Hopefully, the past 2 days have been a fruitful exchange of ideas, not only on the conference theme of personalized learning, but also on other aspects of educational innovations and impactful teaching and learning practices. Ladies and gentlemen, research is an important aspect of knowledge creation and dissemination. However, research and reflection on T&L practices, including teaching approaches and personalized learning, is often overlooked. Knowledge sharing events such as this conference on learning improvement and teaching enhancement is essential. It is a meaningful platform for acknowledging teaching and learning innovations and inspiring further efforts towards impactful teaching and learning. I understand that the scholarly reflections, research findings, and innovative practices presented at LITEC 2020 will be compiled into an edited book volume. I believe the upcoming LITEC book will be a very successful resource for other educators to gain inspiration and ideas for innovative, impactful, and meaningful teaching and learning. Indeed, EDAC's dedication in organizing this conference and in managing the LITEC grant exemplifies University of Malaya's commitment to meaningful teaching and learning. As a member of the university's top management, I echo the university's appreciation of EDAC for its efforts to enhance teaching and learning in and beyond. To conclude my speech, I would like to thank the EDAC team, headed by Associate Professor Dr. Faradina Yusof, for their commitment and efforts. They have made this event a successful and meaningful one. On behalf of the management, I sincerely hope that all parties will keep up the spirit we share today for the betterment of our students and future generations. Thank you and wassalam.
Thank you so much, Prof. Kamila, for the beautiful speech. That would conclude the 3 days conference we have gone through together successfully. We have a little housekeeping announcement before we let everyone enjoy the rest of the evening. To the presenters on our participants, Participants of LITEC 2020, about your certificate, due to some technical issue, your certificate will only be available on the 14th of September 2020. All registered participants who have completed their payment will receive a soft copy of their certificate via email. Physical certificate will be available to be collected at ADEC's office in High Impact Research Building from the 14th of September onwards. You may also request them to be delivered to you. As this is our first virtual conference, we appreciate feedbacks and comments from our participants. Please visit bit.ly/LITEC 2020_feedback form and write to us what do you think about LITEC 2020. I'd also like to reiterate our announcement for the presenters. Panel of reviewers and ADEC will be taking some time to evaluate your presentations to decide the recipients of gold, silver, and bronze medals of LITEC 2020. A total of 22 medals will be awarded, 5 gold, 7 silver, and 10 bronze. Winners will be announced in ADEC's website, that is adec.um.edu.my, and on Info on the 7th of September 2020, Monday. Winners will also be informed as well via email. Medals and certificate will be available to be collected at ADEC's office in High Impact Research Building from the 14th of September onwards. The LITEC conference have always produced LITEC lighter book chapters. So we had published our first book compilation of chapters from our first 2 batches of lighter conference, which is our LITEC lighter recipients. And the title is Eyes on Learning, Hearts on Teaching. So the second book is on its way, that was from last year, entitled Learning Spaces, which comprises of the participants of the conference, which are also the LITEC grant recipients on the theme of learning spaces last year. So this year, we're going to continue the tradition, and ADEC will do our part in producing and facilitating the writing of book chapter from all the LITEC recipients of this year's personalized learning theme. So with that, we will be inviting all LITEC grant recipients to join our book chapter workshop that will be announced sometime in the mid of September. So keep your eyes on your emails for those announcements and the arrangement. I'd like to also acknowledge, before we end, all the contributors and the big heart team members of ADEC and the Learning Improvement and Teaching Enhancement Conference 2020 for this astounding success. I would really like to acknowledge our Vice-Chancellor, our Deputy Vice-Chancellor Research and Innovation, our Deputy of Vice-Chancellor Academic and International, our Research Institute of Research Management Services, IPPP of University of Malaya, as well as Magnetic and all the speakers and panelists that have contributed towards the 3 days of successful conference. We also like to really acknowledge and heartfelt thanks to our panel of reviewers of the conference from all over university from all over Malaysia, including UTEM, UNIMAP, UMS, UITM, UMT, UPNM, UNIMAS, USIM, UPSI, UNIZA, IIUM, UTHM, UPM. I don't want to miss any other universities, but yes, thank you so much for all your participation and your reviewing to all of our conference presenters. And last but not least, a big thanks to Microsoft Teams for the technical support and smooth with little few glitches here and there throughout these 3 days of conference. We will also put up the cleaner edited version of the 3 days conference, online conference, on our edX website as soon as we are ready. So you can look out for that as future references. With that, Dr. Farah will have some last words from our beautiful director, please.
Hi, I would like to express my gratitude and appreciation to all participants of LITEC 2020 conference who have generously shared your experience and best practices in personalized learning. My special thanks goes to my team at EDEC and LITEC 2020 committees who are always being positive, fun yet committed to make sure this virtual conference a fabulous success. Thank you, my team. Finally, thank you to our University of Malaya top management, especially our Datuk VC, our Deputy Vice-Chancellor Academic and International, and our Deputy Vice-Chancellor Research and Innovation for their continuous support to enhance the teaching and learning at University of Malaya. I hope that everyone enjoy and benefit a lot from this conference. Thank you.